Yo, what's up? Yes, what's up, people? Coach Renz, starting late. It's all right. What I want to do today is not going to take that long anyway. We are, today is Wednesday. So we're talking about relationships on Wednesday. And I'm on my relationship channels as far as TikTok and YouTube and Facebook is concerned. YouTube don't have a relationship channel, so you guys just get everything that I do. So if you want to get everything that I do, go to YouTube. But we're going to take a little bit of time, get some people time. Hey, you coming in? Where you at? Who are you? But we're gonna show you a process that you can go through, a process that you can utilize in order to be able to grow together in a relationship. So we're gonna give people a few minutes here to get on, and then we're going to go through a quick little lesson of that I use when I coach people. I developed it myself. From a perspective of listening to other people and then just kind of like figuring out some things and develop this process so that I don't repeat my history. So you might ask, like, what is my history? Where did it come from? So just to give you a brief idea of my history and where this thought process come from. For me, when I got married at 19, I married my who I dated in high school. And then we got married. We was married for 17 years. So it was a 22-year relationship. And that relationship ended, spiraled into a ton of depression. All right. So I spiraled into a ton of depression after my first marriage. And upon doing so, I like to go back and think about what created, what happened in that relationship. People easily threw it off and said, well, you was 19, you didn't really know anything. And that's true. But being in the Marine Corps at the time, traveling overseas, different things like that, I had a bunch of different experiences. So what I wanted to do was, if you haven't made a statement, you're not coming in on my TikTok, so I don't even know who you are. What I wanted to do back then was to figure out, like, how can I cease this situation? What can I do to make it better? True, no relationship is ever going to be perfect, but it was like, what can I do to make this situation work better for me? What can I do to, hopefully not find myself in a similar situation as I was in this time? And of course, it's not going to work with every relationship, but one of the things I realized that from that marriage, we grew apart from each other, right? As you have experiences, we grew apart from each other. As people come into your life, you can grow apart from each other. As you move into different environments, you can grow apart from it. And every experience that you have changes who you are. It changes who you are. Now you're trying to be with somebody. Now you may be changing. You're trying to be with somebody. Just every experience that you have, y'all start changing. You make changes. You perceive things, and you can't help it. Everybody's going to perceive things in their own way. One of the key things that I realized, I don't know who you are as far as trying to join this live, but if you don't make a comment, you're not joining this live. It's quite that simple, because that battle stuff that people seem to do, I ain't got time for that. But later on in life, I started coaching, and I went through a few relationships, trying to understand relationships better, trying to figure myself out better, understand myself. What do I desire? What I don't desire? The things I like, things I don't like. What things are good in relationship? What things are not good in relationship? How do I need? What's going to make me happy as far as living my life and that sort of thing. And there's a lot of other things that go into play. But one of the big things that in around 2015. No, what's 2015? No, actually, it was earlier than 2015. It was like 2012. It was like 2012. I was sitting at home in 2012, and I had this thought, this idea. And it initially started because I saw somebody else do something similar. So you may have seen something similar to this before. But I had this idea of how to coach people better in a relationship, right? And what I found was this pyramid. And this pyramid, it kind of gives you the idea of everything coming together. Now, some people have, you know, if you've been around on some of my other videos, you may have seen this. If you're on my YouTube, you may have seen me do this before. But the way it starts off, and I'm going to draw it for you guys so that everybody can see it, right? And it starts out very simple. Very simple. Starts out as a little pyramid. That's all. Just starts out as a little pyramid. Everybody got that? Just a little pyramid. And this marker is about dead. So what I do on the pyramid is then I take on each side of the pyramid, there's you and them. There's you and them. There's a reason why you're starting in the middle. You're starting on the middle because this is the plane that the both of you are existing on at that moment. So both of you are existing on that same plane at that very moment. All right. Then what I ask couples to do and what I started doing for myself, I did it for myself to kind of figure it out. But what I ask couples to do is we draw lines, because every pyramid has lines that create each block, each line of blocks, right? So we draw lines on each block, and each couple will have one of these for themselves, right? And so I did this for myself. I'm like, okay. Now, you take this and think about it in this concept. Everything, oh, look, I can hold it right here and everybody can see it at the same time. You got to keep turning so much. Everything that goes up brings you and them closer together. So the more you share your experiences with each other, the more you communicate your experiences with each other, the more y'all come into an understanding. You don't have to agree with every situation that y'all experience. You don't have to agree. But the more and more you have in common with each other, the more and more y'all understand. Like you guys can have the experience. Let's say you go on a vacation and one person really, really loves that place. The other person doesn't. It's like, all right, it's okay. All right. So y'all ain't got to have the same response to that vacation. But when you talk about it and you maybe try to start seeing it from the other person's point of view, you start understanding why they enjoyed it. And then you also understand why the other person didn't enjoy it as much. Then what that allows for y'all to share that experience and y'all get closer together because you've communicated. You didn't come away with it with the same mentality, but you both gained some understanding of it. But let's say some more serious things that happens in a relationship. This is them. So they have a death in the family. That experience is way more, usually it's going to be more intense for them than it's going to be for you. Make sure. How do they respond? Do they go into depression? Who are you during their depression? Does the death in that family draw you closer together, or does it pull you further apart? And what I have couples do, and what I do for myself at certain points of any relationship, is I ask the question, what are the things, and each person will have their own sheet. What are the things? So imagine they got a sheet, I got a sheet. I ask the question, what are the things that you think that brings us together? What are the things you think that is separating us, that's causing us to go further away from each other? So I want you to think about that for a second. You're asking each other, I'm gonna put this down for a second. You're asking each other to, from their perspective, what do they think that's bringing us close together? What do they think that's taking us further apart? Almost every time, can't say every time, almost every time, one person will put something here that says that's bringing them closer together, while the other person put that exact same thing that they're saying is tearing us apart, is drawing us further apart. And I want you to think about that for a second. Your perspective is, this is bringing us closer together. Let me give you an example. So I was with somebody. Gifts don't mean shit to me. They don't motivate me. Gifts is not my love language. They're nice. I respect and I understand them. but they kept buying me gifts, right? And the gift that they was buying me was a gift that I don't even like. I don't even care for, right? So they put on theirs that them buying me this particular gift is something that's bringing us closer together. I put on mine, them buying me this particular gift is pulling us apart, because that particular gift, every time I received it, I would tell them it irritates me. I don't use that. I don't like that. I don't like, why do you keep doing this? You keep trying to force your way of love for me to receive it. You keep expecting me to receive love the way you do. And that doesn't work. All that speaks to me is control. So the idea was, so, if you understand that, then you're understanding that the very thing that person was trying to, that they thought was bringing us together, was actually for me pulling us apart. And so I told them that. I explained that. We did this sheet so that they can understand it. And I said, okay, now we need to come to a mutual understanding of this. We need to communicate about it, and we need to work on it. This is how you receive. So I would do that. I was already doing that for them, and I would continue to do that for you, but don't do it for me, because it doesn't work. It creates frustration. Right? So I want you to think about that. If you're with somebody and y'all do this, there are going to be things, there may be something that they say brings you closer together that you're saying is taking you farther apart. And then you compare it. You compare it with each other, and you have conversations about it, so that you can decipher whether or not it brings you closer together or it's pulling you farther apart. And then y'all can have, hopefully it's a good, honest, peaceful conversation. Now, you may have seen something similar to that before, but there is one thing that I added to, when I first saw something similar to this, then I thought about something a little bit extra to go with it. And that was 2 circles. 2 circles on a line. 2 circles on a line. And those 2 circles on a line represents distractions. Because I then asked the question, what do you think is distracting? So actually, each person has 2 sheets. They have 2 sheets, because they asked, what do they think is distracting? What do you think is distracting them within the relationship? And what do you think is distracting your partner in the relationship? Distractions. I don't think people realize how much their hobbies or other distractions, or how important hobbies and distractions can be as far as a relationship. Some people utilize hobbies as a way to get out of a relationship. I mean, to not be involved in a relationship, right? So they will say, like, hey, I don't, I'm just really, really into plants, gardening, out in my garden, out in my yard. But what they're saying is that I'm out in my yard all day, all the time, because it's an escape from you. Right? There are guys who, I'm in my man cave craft shop. I'm building shit all the time. They're using that as a distraction to not be in their relationship, to spend time away from the family, away from the person. I'm working real, real hard. I got to work. I got these deadlines. I got all this. I got that. It's just distraction. When I was younger, video games became a distraction. And I saw video games as a distraction for a lot of guys when I was when I was younger. And still to this day, I see dudes who are 40, 50 years old still playing a whole bunch of video games. Hey, to each his own, okay? But there are a bunch of guys who play video games as a distraction so that they don't have to deal with their spouse or their children. In the same way, I've seen people, both men and women, but I'm going to say mostly women, who utilize the care and needs of the children as a distraction and not pay attention to the spouse. And next thing you know, it's 20 years later. You don't know that joker who's in your house anymore. You don't know that dude, and you're sitting there pissed off because like I gave you the best years of my life. I raised your children, but you have not been a wife for 20 years. I worked so hard. I've been at work. I had deadlines. I built this. I got the house. I got this. But you have not been a husband for 20 years. You've allowed distractions, whether those distractions are certain friends, right? There's been multiple times in my life, and I actually sometimes see them pop up on my Facebook scroll or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, I remember that person used to be a friend of mine. I remember that person used to be a friend of mine. But that person's not a friend of mine anymore because that person was a distraction. That wasn't good for the relationship. So they had to go. Because I will repeatedly say over and over again, the only person who you plan to spend the rest of your life with is a spouse. You don't plan to spend the rest of your life with your children. You don't plan to spend it with your parents, with your siblings, your job, your co-workers, your friends, none of those. The only person that you give a promise that you want to spend the rest of your life with is a spouse. So to me, Brandon is my guy. I love Brandon. That's my guy. Even though I can't stand him yesterday because it was March 28th, and he always send me the 328, the score of the Falcons losing to the Patriots. Well, the lead they had on the Patriots. I can't stand him sometimes, but that's my guy. That's my friend. But if Brandon ever became a distraction between me and my spouse, Brandon got to go. But that's my guy. Nobody. If my kids acted a fool, a plumb fool, unjustified, they don't get to rule over my spouse. They don't. No. They don't get that. Now I'm fair. There have been occasions where I've had spouses who thought that I should have sided with them, but they were wrong. So no, I'm all about what's right and what's wrong. But what I'm saying as far as that, because I don't want people thinking like you just kick everybody to the side. You do have to evaluate and say, okay, what is the situation? What's going on in the situation? Who's right? Who's wrong? What's the whole deal is. I'm not just going to jump on my spouse's side just because she's my spouse. You would have to, we would have to see what the whole situation is first. But if at the end of the day, I'm trying to make things work out for me and my spouse, not trying to make things work out for me and my kids to live together, me and my brother to live together, me and my mom to live together. It would be great if everything is peaceful, but y'all know sometimes you have those situations where family members don't get along with the person that you are in love with. And if they don't get along with the person you're in love with, I'm not choosing the family member over the person that I'm in love with, because family ain't always family. Them motherfuckers leave you high and dry just as well. So family is relationship building. Who you built the relationship with, that's who family is. But if you allow those distractions, let me show you once again. If you allow yourself to be distracted, the distractions pull you even further away from the relationship. You go even further away from the relationship, or even further away from the person that you're supposed to be in this relationship with. You allow those to drag you down and take you even further away. Actually, that line's supposed to be going down like that. So these lines for the circles for distraction supposed to be going down, because they take you so much further away than the normal things that are taking you away from the relationship. Some of the things that can take a person away from the relationship, that's what the bottom things are. Because you see, as you go down, you're farther apart from the person. Then like finances is one of the biggest destroyers of relationships. So if you can't get on a good budget system, y'all got bad budget, bad money management, you're living far above your means, y'all constantly in struggle and so on and so forth. So finances could be something that's pulling you away from each other in a relationship. Now, let's say you can fix those finances and y'all are living a happy life. Those finances then can become something that can grow you together, that can bring you closer together. And I want you to think about, you have to realize that as well. Something that is separating you, depending upon what it is, could be turned around and brought into something that's causing you guys to live better. I wasn't going to do this as part of this one, but finances is something that, since finances is a main is one of the main things that break down relationships, because let's be honest, guys. If any guy is watching this, then you honestly know that it is not that women want you for your money. I hate when dudes say that. Now, there are some, so I'm not going to say all. I don't use finite terms. Most women don't want you for your money. Most women just want to feel financially secure. All right. It's as simple as that. So you can't put the label of gold digging on most women. There are some, but most women just want to be financially secure. They don't want to have that stress. I mean, dudes like to use the animal kingdom and the lion and the lionesses and all this kind of stuff. But why do the lioness go for the alpha male? Because he secures the protection of the pride land. You look at our world and how we exist, finances is securing the pride land. So whether you're doing it individually or doing it together, your main job as a dude, one of your primary jobs as the head of any, if you want to be the head, you want to be the leader, you want a woman to follow you, you got to have good financial parameters because she wants to feel secure and she should feel financially secure. Some of the problems is some people are, and this could be one of the things that could separate you. Like maybe you got the guy, his financial security is right around 50,000, right? So he puts that he makes 50,000. That's part of the thing that brings y'all closer together. But her thing is she needs 100,000. Well, she puts down here that his 50,000 is taking them further apart because his ambition is not high enough. You say Facebook sounds terrible. Oh, so dramatic on the terrible thing. This ring light doesn't have a lot of space. I'm gonna try something different on Facebook next time. Deborah, I'm gonna add a microphone to it. But I'd have to take the whole screen apart and all this kind of stuff to do that right now. But so you see how one person think is securing them, the other thing is thinking that the person is separating them. Those finances. So before you even get into a serious relationship with somebody, you should identify what level of finances is required for the two of you to be together. And the number may be shocking to most people who have these abstract ideas of it. For instance, some people think that they need you have to identify, in order to know how much your finances need to be, it's not just an arbitrary number, because $50,000 here in Atlanta is completely different from $50,000 in, say, New York City. In New York City, $50,000 ain't shit. Your ass gonna be broke. You living in a hovel, more than likely. You living in the hood. In Atlanta, $50,000, you can live in a decent area. Then the question is, how are you living? Size of the house, or is it an apartment or townhouse? What area of town? What schools? What amenities are in your area? A bunch of things come into play in determining what is the financial amount that will bring the level of security, so that finances is on both y'all's things that's bringing you closer together, right? So the first thing is to identify that. Dude, if you haven't made a comment, stop trying to ask yourself, stop trying to join into my life. But you got to figure it out, how that mechanism, like what, and that's the thing. I know somebody probably thinking that all you got to do is communicate with each other. If all you do is, if you communicate, then everything should work out perfectly fine. Y'all should be able to figure this thing out. Well, true, you do have to communicate, but even within that communication, okay, so that's open. I was just trying something different to make sure that this thing is at least nothing blocking the microphone part. It's live on my YouTube channel, and on TikTok, it's on the Alchemy of Tantric Love, same as this YouTube, same as the Facebook group. So TikTok and YouTube. Now, I have not lit my cigar. That is a problem. So, yes, communication is a big part of it. But in that communication, What you have to identify is what quality of life y'all want to live. The quality of life is going to make the difference, because that's going to determine how much money is required. Right. So once you understand how much money is required, and then how you're going to budget it. Now, I always implore every man, and this is in my financial programs, I teach this process, but this is one that I just give to people. Actually, I was giving one to a young man last night. I was telling a young man last night how to do this, while he was taking my order for when I went to go, the little video basketball shooting thing at the little bowling alley that I was whooping somebody's tail in. We're not going to talk about who tail got whooped. But there's a process of budgeting that I have used for the majority of my life. There are some times where I haven't been able to use it simply because, I haven't been able to use it in its fullness. I started using this back in the early 90s because I read two books. I read the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, and then I read, what was that other book? I think it was like one of them Dave Ramsey's book, but I didn't like Ramsey stuff. But The Richest Man in Babylon impacted me greatly in how to do in finances. And the way it's set up is that you have a 70-10-10-10 program. You guys have maybe heard me say that before. But it's very simple. 70-10-10-10. If you are a couple and you want to fix your finances, or you want to get yourself ready for a relationship and you want your finances to be minimal problem, then what you might want to do is this 70-10-10-10 program, a way of financing. That means that 70% of what you make, you take, you know what? I messed it up right off the bat. I messed it up. All right. I messed it up. Sorry. I put it down here. So the first thing that you do is there's an equal allowance that goes for you and your partner. You and your partner have an equal allowance, meaning that the first thing that happens is that all the money, okay, found you perfect. Oh, cool. So all the money comes into one account. I know this is scary for some people. They like, oh, I don't want all my money going into one account. That's, that's control. And I don't like that. I like having my own money and that sort of thing. Well, okay, fine. You want to end the situation of finances ever being a problem in your relationship? Okay, gotcha, Deborah. If you want to end finances being a problem in your relationship, there's a simple way to do it, but you got to get past your ego and your she-go. If you keep your ego and she-go, the possibility of finances ending your relationship is always present. A big thing for me is protecting the relationship. If I can get things out of the way, nullified, that can hurt a relationship, then I want to get rid of that thing. I want to end that thing. My ego is not so big that I can't get rid of it. Hey, Miss Prissy, how you doing? So I don't mind. And I know a lot of dudes, I talk to a lot of guys here in this cigar lounge. If I were to tell them that, hey man, you and your lady should have joint accounts across the board, except for one account. But that one account is your allowance. People hate that term allowance because it makes them feel like a child, but I don't care. It's just semantics. But, call it whatever you want. Call it your leisure account. That was one term that I had to use for a while. My leisure account. So you take all the money. It doesn't matter who makes the most and who makes the least, who's making the money. You take all the money. But first you say, okay, what is an equitable allowance? Well, first you have to ask your mate, how do you want to live? Do you need to have Do you need to live on this side of town? Do you need to have a house this big or that big, apartment, a condo downtown, out in the sticks? Where do you want to live? How you want to live? You know, let's establish how we want to live. And then you look at how much did that cost based on what we make. You swear that you and your husband, I swear my husband and I have almost fell out about this. Okay. You might want to like this one. Because I actually had a lady, she has been married for 30 years, and her and her husband switched over. They've been doing their finances separately for 30 years. And then I showed them this, and they changed the way they do their finances. That was just last year that I met that couple. But, about a year and a half ago. So no matter who makes the most money, after you discuss how the lifestyle that you want to live, you give each other equal allowance based on what's affordable. All right. Now, let's say, just to use easy numbers, the affordability of that is $500 a person. Okay. So each person gets $500 a month. This $500 a month, they can spend on whatever they like. You know, it doesn't matter, anything. And I'm gonna tell you a funny story, right? I was dating this person. We were just dating. And it's always one of my litmus tests for the dating. It's always, I ask the question about us putting all our money together. And then it being budgeted through my 70-10-10-10 plan. At some point. It doesn't happen right then when you're dating, but at some point, that's just how it's gonna go. If a person bulks at that and says that I ain't doing that shit, they gotta go. I ain't dealing with it. Right? Now, I explained the process. You'll get an allowance. I'll get an allowance. It'll be an equal amount. You go do whatever you want with that money. But mind you, because this is a big thing for women, your hair, your nails, if I'm dating somebody, then I wear a bunch of makeup anyway, but your makeup, all those healthy, your beautification stuff, that's not part of your allowance. You don't use your allowance for any of that. That actually built into the budget, the whole budget. And I literally had a young lady tell me that she was not going to do that, even though the allowance that she would get is more money that, when I combine both of ours together, the allowance that she would get gave her more expendable income than she currently had. It actually was like almost 3 times. I know it was at least 2 times, but it was almost 3 times the amount of her expendable income. Right? And she balked at it. And I thought that was crazy. It didn't make any sense to me. Right? So you get your expense account. You do whatever you want with your expense account. After your expense account, you got the 70% of the total 70% of what's left over. So you take the 500, you take 1,000 out of the whole amount. So I'm just using easy numbers. You have to do your own numbers. All right. But let's say after the $1,000 comes out, y'all got $5,000 left over, right? Okay, so we're good. Out of $5,000, the NEC account would then have is $3,500, right? And then it's $500 okay, so $3,500. This means that your necessities, NEC stands for necessities. That means that all your necessities cannot be above $3,500. Okay? And all your necessities cannot be above $3,500. That means your rent/mortgage. That means your insurances, your hair, your nails, your food, your electricity, your car notes, your insurance, all those things. All the things that are a necessity for y'all to have to exist every day cannot be above 70%. Now, I want you to think about something. What else does this create? This creates a buffer. It creates a buffer. If there's a loss of job, if there's a decrease in income, you have not exerted yourself where you're living off 100% of what you make. It's just your necessities. and you're robbing people to pay Paul. I was in that situation. I'm telling you, I was in that situation back in the early 90s. Hell, at one point I was 112% leveraged on necessities. So you can imagine I was like going out. I had to go out and get hustles like every week just to try to, make the ends meet without losing, where you're living and the cars, and because there was so much that came down. So 70%, you can't go above 70%. And if you was a coaching client of mine, I already got the whole spreadsheet budget built out for you. But you can't go above that 70%. You just plug in your numbers, you see what your percentages are, you good. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes as a business owner, sometimes I do shit, I'm doing things, I go above 70%. I go above 70. But it's just me. My kids are grown now. Right? We almost fell out because he makes more and thinks he should do whatever. But he's not good with money. And that's one of the reasons why I had to come up with this program, because in my early life I wasn't good with money at all. I was horrible. I was probably just like your husband. I would spend, and we have to figure shit out. I was just telling my lady how I did this 3-on-3. I think I was talking to her. Did this 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Man, by the time and everything went to hell in the handbasket, I was 6 months behind on my house. Right. Now, the thing about doing this program, I don't even like managing myself. I'm not going to manage it. Somebody else going to have to manage this. But now, so all your necessities come out to 70%. And then you have 10% for investments, 10% for savings, and 10% for fun. The fun is very important. The fun is the money that the two of you spend together. The two of you spend it together. You get that? You understand? You with me? You see how this comes back into play when it comes to finances? If the 10% is what y'all spend together, then that 10%, that's money that y'all have fun with. And every month it has to be spent. You have to go out and do these things. If it's, if y'all like the movie, and that's going to help you discover more things within the relationship that grow y'all together. We got this $500 every month we got to spend together. We got to go out to dinner. We have to go to the movies. We got to go play putt-putt. We got to do whatever. I don't care if you get down to the last dollar and it's $1 now. We're going to go get a candy bar and split it and eat it together. We're going to do this together. So you use that 10% fund money to do things. You utilize it towards things that bring y'all together. For the dating. The dating. Now, if you got kids, young kids, you can let them join in every now and then, but don't let them jokers join in all the time. Don't nobody like them anyway. Now you got 10% for savings. 10% goes into your savings. The longer and these savings can be, there's a later process where all this shit changes a little bit to a 50, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 plan. But the savings right now is just all savings. Sometimes it's long-term, short. It'll be split to long-term and short-term savings as your NECs goes down. But it's long-term and short-term savings. But this is what that's for. You save money. Some projects are long-term savings. Some projects are short-term savings. Within that $500, some of that savings could go towards a vacation. Some of that savings can go towards fixing a car. Some of it can go towards, if you own a house, it can go towards fixing, if the air conditioner blows out or something like that. But you're constantly building this savings, and you have to be mindful of how much you're taking out of it at any given moment, because you never want to empty the savings, right? You always want to have a savings. First, if you can save it and you got 6 months of life, 6 months of NEC saved up, then that's a wonderful thing to have 6 months of NEC saved up, right? You want to have that if you can get to that point. I know that's maybe a lot for some people. Like, God damn, I got so many bills, I can't get there. After a big dispute over stock trading with my first marriage, we made a pact. We can spend up to a certain amount of money on whatever, but after that, we must discuss and agree on spending. Yeah, it's work. And I know a lot of people, they do that. certain amount. They have a line in the sand. If you're going to spend more than $500, we need to talk about it. Or if it's $200 or it's $1,000, whatever that line in the sand is, we're not going to spend over that. And that's a good process. I just like this one because everybody knows where everything is going. Now in the savings, and you're right, the savings, no matter what is spent out of the savings, it's a discussion as to what's being utilized. Because when you think about it, whoever is managing these accounts, there's no reason to ever spend savings unless it's something that you've talked about. The fund is done together, so you've talked about it. INV, it stands for investments. The investment is spent on getting country. It's spent on things that you have discussed and talked about. And the investment account is spent on things that's going to give you more of an immediate return on your income. All right. You can take part of it and put it into like a S&P that is going to give you about an 8% return per annual. And if you've got 40, 60 years, okay, do that thing. But also if you want to go on to, I just forgot the site. If you want to go buy, what is the damn site where you can buy stuff from manufacturers overseas, and then Alibaba. If you want to go on Alibaba and y'all want to buy something that you agree on, y'all want to put it out online on Facebook Marketplace, you want to sell that thing, and then then everything that you make from the investment money goes back into the investment money. It doesn't go in, or it doesn't spread out over here. It goes back into the investment money. You want to put it back into the investment money because hopefully your eventuality is that your investments are making enough money, is making this amount of money, $6,000. This is based on a total income of $6,000 a month coming in. But you want to get it where your investments are throwing off $6,000 by itself. Then you ain't got to work because your investments are working for you and you're working your investments, but you're able to maintain your lifestyle. And then of course the NEC, whoever is managing the NEC account, which I hate managing the NEC account. I don't like managing the NEC account. I put as many things on autopilot as I possibly can on the NEC account. But when I have a lady, she's managing this account. I'm not managing this account. I hate paying bills. I think paying bills is the devil. It's evil. I should have free electricity. Is that 5,000 total net income? Yes, this is based on your net income. This is based on your net income. So this 5,000 is just what's spread over this. Remember, there's a $500 a piece allowance. So it's a total of $6,000. So, but you have to figure it out based on what your income is. Like when I actually sit down with people, when I'm coaching somebody and I sit down with them and we go through this process, then we start with their total net income. Because you can't do it off gross. Gross won't work. It's based off your total net income. So you take that total net income and you break it down. And that's why the allowance becomes very important. There have been time frames where I changed jobs. Like I was working for this one IT school and came there they hadn't paid me for a month, and then I came there one day and there was a chair under the door and nobody could get in. That allowance disappeared for a couple of months. I don't know about investments. That's okay, because you have an investment account, y'all will start learning about investment. You start questioning and asking questions. Most of the time, people don't know about something because there was never a need for them to go and learn about it. But if you have that investment account, you'll start asking questions and you'll start seeking out help, and hopefully good help. And you start out with some safe stuff. It depends on what your goals are as far as investing is concerned. I'm not a financial advisor, but I give financial advice. Bills are the abyss. Yes, bills are horrible. I don't like them. I actually feel pain every time I pay a bill. It's the worst morning. But this plan here eventually becomes a 50, 10, 10, 10, 10 plan. Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is the other person that I had read a book on. It wasn't Dave Ramsey. I hated Dave Ramsey's book. It was Jim Rohn. I read his book after reading The Richest Man in Babylon. And that's where some of the other accounts came from. And the Richest Man in Babylon, there's only 2 accounts. It's your NEC and then it's your investment account. That's it. There's only 2. But with Jim Rohn, it became the savings and the fund. But then I broke down and had like we have a long-term savings and a short-term savings. So I added another savings account. And I changed it to 50, 20, 10, 10. Make sure I got it right. Can't have too many 10s and stuff because I wanted to add more into the investment account. So it was like 50, 20, 10, 10, 10. So you had 20% in investment, 10% in long-term saving, 10% in short-term saving, 10% in fund. Investment, short-term saving, fund. Oh no. Yeah. And then there's something like that. But that way, it took finances from being a problem in my relationships. There's only one relationship that was geared towards being long-term, and it was supposed to be a long-term relationship, but it turned out not to be one. And she didn't want to do the 70-10-10-10 plan, but I went ahead and stayed the relationship anyway. And we got married. Money was a huge part of the breakup. It was a huge part, simply because this is your money, this is my money. These are your bills. These are the bills you pay. These are your bills. These are my bills. These are our household bills. We're gonna split these things in half. You pay this part, I pay these parts. Okay, that was cool. But then I started making more money than her, because it was cool at first when she was making more than me. Then I started making more money than her, and it was, well, I think you should pay more of the household bills than I'm paying because you make more money than me. No, I'm not. We established this relationship as a 50-50 financial relationship. It's going to stay a 50-50 financial relationship. That became a repetitive argument. You know, every time money exchanged hands, there had to be a contract written. You know, they wanted the relationship to be contractual. That probably was a red flag. I know, I've recognized that. I should have just walked away from it when that was first uttered, but I didn't. Okay, my bad. It happens. In the diagram, the allowances to each person 10%. No, the allowance can be whatever you want it to be, whatever is equitable. That's why I would, maybe when you were switching over, you didn't hear me. You didn't catch it. But what you do is first establish, before you establish the allowance, you have to establish what type of lifestyle you want to live that can fit, you know, what type of lifestyle you want to live, right? The house, all this kind of stuff. Because let's look at this in this regard. If you're making $6,000, if the total household income is $6,000 a month, right? But let's say you guys are willing to live, let's say y'all are willing to live in Benin, Africa, right? As Rick James would say, and I'm not gonna say it the full way, if y'all decide y'all want to live in Benin, Africa, and y'all bringing in $6,000 a month, you're rich. You're rich. You could be able to give each other an allowance of probably about $1,500 a piece, and just blow a lot of money. You could. It wouldn't be wise, but you could. You understand what I'm saying? So, if you're living in a place where your mortgage, let's say you've had your house, and your house is paid off, and the only thing, you live in College Park. Why do I keep forgetting who's local to me? I keep forgetting that you're local. All right, so you live in College Park. Depending upon where in College Park, you probably need a household income of $5,000 or $6,000 ain't giving you a lot of wiggle room for an allowance, especially if you're anywhere near downtown College Park. But you have to look at what your mortgage is. It's harder to do this the more established you are. When I first started doing this when I was 21, It was easy because I ain't have a lot. You have a lot. All right. So if your mortgage is already running you, say, $2,000 a month, and your NEC is 3,500, uh, your allowance, and then so you got that's 2,000 a month. You only got $1,500 left over. That 1,500, you have to look at what else you got to sacrifice. For me, it was sacrificing cars. I literally, to this day of my life, have never had a brand new car, like fresh off the lot. Oh no, can't say that I had one time. One time, sorry, it was when I first did this and I got this stuff handled, and we was actually 50, 10, 10, 10, 10. It was the first time I had a brand new car. So I've had a brand new car one time in my life. Any other time, it's used cars, especially when I started having children. So I had to have a used car so I can have a lower car payment. If your mortgage is 2,000 and you got $1,500 left over, you still got car note, insurance, food, utilities, health insurance, you know, personal hygiene, all that stuff. You still got a lot of that stuff to take care of. So you can't do $500. It might be $200 or $300 for an allowance, so that you can put more money into your NEC. But that will also be a little bit more money going into your investment savings and fund, which actually could bring y'all closer together because there's a little bit more money in fund. Y'all have to do more stuff together. Like the highest my allowance has ever been was $1,500. Right? It was $2,500. It was $2,500. I spent that whole goddamn thing on golf and cigars, damn near every time, or taking trips. Um, yeah, but it's really about about your current and or future lifestyle, and that's how you have to think about it. What your current and future lifestyle is, and then you can establish this budget so that your relationship can grow closer together. But 10% accurate for a possible allowance. But yeah, it could be roughly around 10%. It depends on what y'all, and that depends on who you are as a person. You know, I did the $2,500 as an allowance one time for a little while, but it was too much. Like we kept having, it was too much. We was actually saved a lot of the allowance because it wasn't something that was a lifestyle to live. So I was like, let's shift some of that allowance into investments and savings. Let's shift some of that money. So it is, you can play with it. I don't want to miss what y'all saying over here. This is my second marriage. We both came with our own portfolio. What my husband couldn't understand why I paid bills several months in advance. Some people, and that's what I was saying, how women want security. It makes you feel good to know that those bills are paid in advance. Once I explained my rationale, he started doing it as well, taking over the bill paying chores. Yeah. When I got married, we had a joint account. It was bad with overspending, so we got separate account access. When I look back, the mine is mine and yours is yours mentality will dominate a relationship or marriage. I always purchase used cars with low mileage and warranty. Yeah. Plus, buying new cars, it's not a good investment anyway. This is why Papa Soul, if you can establish this process, it takes away from the yours is mine and mine is mine. Yours, whose is who, and both persons have access, and all the money is already delegated as to where it needs to go. And then if a person still just goes into the investment account or the savings account without permission and start just spending money, that takes us back to the original graph where finances are falling in the separating us, taking us away from each other category. And then that needs to be dealt with, talked about, figured out, and maybe gotten rid of the person. Because if somebody willingly, if they know this is a distraction, this is part of the distraction, or this is something that's that's down here, taking us further away from each other, then we don't need to be together. If you know that something you're doing is causing for y'all to go further away from each other, grow further and further apart from each other. I know people don't like this. Don't be in a relationship with that person. That person's not worth being in a relationship with, because they're going to consistently keep doing that. Then you need to go. You were spot on today, Coach. I need this understanding. Appreciate that. But yeah, I'm glad to be of service. I cannot understand, unless it's something you can't help. Like, I don't know, maybe you snore real loud and you tried the little straps on your nose. You got a CPAP so you look like Bane. I don't know. But unless it's something that you just cannot help, why would a person keep doing something that they have come to a clear understanding this is causing a separation in the relationship? You know, let you see the paper again. Which one? You got this one, which is each person lists what they think is bringing each other closer together, bringing y'all closer together. Then they list what they think is taking you apart. Then they compare sheets. You also list what you think is distracting you from the relationship, what's distracting them from the relationship. And then y'all talk about everything and try to find a resolution to it all. This one is a 70, 10, 10, 10, where if it's a budget based on $6,000, $500 allowance to each person, then $3,500 goes into your NEC, which is 70%, 10% into investment, 10% in savings, and 10% into fund. So as I was saying, if a person is purposely doing something that takes you further away from each other, leave early, leave quickly. You ready the other one? You ready this one? This is the basis of the whole conversation. But I would leave the relationship early. It's no reason to stay in a relationship where the person is not trying to they're not putting in the work to make the relationship grow. You know, no apologies needed. Make the relationship grow. I'm always looking for what can we do to make the relationship better? What can we do to draw us closer together? You know, what distractions? Wait a minute, that's them. What distractions I need to get rid of to make us grow closer together? Now, I'm all about protecting the relationship. What distractions that they got that they may be unaware of that need to? That's why each person doing their own sheet is important, because I might put something that I think is a distraction to them, and they may not even realize it's a distraction. They may put something that's a distraction to me, and I may not realize it's a distraction either. So, you know, some of you guys who've been with me on YouTube, y'all know that there was a time frame where I wasn't doing videos hardly ever. And one of the reasons why is because the person said that because of my work schedule, I was already working like 12, 14 hours a day, but I didn't have time to do videos until after I got off work. So they put that my videos was a distraction. So I minimized when I did video. I only did videos on the weekend when I had free time. You know, I didn't do videos during the week. So my production level quantity went down drastically because I didn't realize it was a distraction for me to come home and spend 30, 40 minutes doing a video. I'm sitting in the bed and I'm editing videos in the bed. I didn't realize that until she said it. When she said it, I was like, oh, okay, my bad. Let me not do videos no more. And I dropped them because, I love y'all. I don't love y'all that much. So can't do that. But you have to be able to be open-minded to it. Somebody tell me that something is a distraction. We got to talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get an understanding of it. After we got that understanding, then we move forward. I know Brandon probably see this one day. Like if Brandon, I've used him already. If Brandon was a distraction, his ass got to go. Especially after that thing he sent me yesterday. But anything that I'm doing that's pushing us farther apart, it has to go. Because the goal is to grow closer together, right? don't know. Oh, y'all talking to each other? See the again. The other one. It's nice. Okay. Seeing I've been on your own for 4 years, not sure if I want to share the same space or finances anymore. I enjoy the freedom of being responsible for me. Plus, being single saves me money. It does. You do save a lot more money. Well, I mean, you know what? It depends, man. I'm gonna put it like this: if you got the right person, Papa Soul Searcher, since you're searching for souls, if you got the right person in your life, you can actually, it invigorates you to make more money, and you make more money. If you got the right partner in your life, y'all can build more together and more faster. You can build more and you can build faster together than you can apart, than you can individually, right? If you got the right partner, if you got if y'all got those goals, if y'all got similar goals to try to bring you higher, to try to bring both of y'all higher, you can grow stronger together, right? Because you got that person that got your back, you know what I'm saying? Or you got that person's back. They bringing in ideas that maybe you're not thinking about. They thinking about situations that you may not think about. So it could save you time, save you energy. They can also help you, and you help them. Y'all can help. So let me rephrase that. Y'all can help each other to develop projects or whatever it is that you want to grow and build. You know, I mean, I'm in the cigar lounge all goddamn day. I don't have time to do a lot of other things that I would like to do to build this business. I recently shut down the popcorn shop. If it was if it wasn't doing as great as well as I wanted to do in this area, so I shut it down because I'm not gonna wait for it to drag both businesses down. So shut it down. Right? Have no qualms about that. But when I first opened it and I got ready to open this, if I had somebody in my life who was dedicated to us, and when they was running the popcorn shop the way it needed to be ran, it would probably still be over there thriving. It would be thriving right now. But I didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? So when you got something in your life like that, someone in your life that's like that, you can grow a lot stronger, bro. You really can. And I hate using that term bro, but I had to use it like that, bro. You can grow stronger. The top line is what can bring us closer. Yes. Yeah. Oh, all right. All right. The top line usually has that on my on the digital one that I have that I use for coaching. It does say us at the top. It says us at the top. So the top line is us. Yeah. Right. You got the right person, you grow faster. It's like I want to tell y'all something, but I can't yet. I don't have permission. I don't think I got permission. We ain't really talked about it. I know we talked about it as far as people in here, but I don't know if I talked about it as far as y'all are concerned. But when you got the right person, ain't no telling what you can do, man. Even though I hate that term, that behind every strong man is a strong woman. I don't really like that. I get what they're trying to indicate, that somebody's helping you and holding down that foundation. Somebody's your foundation. So I'd rather say, but with every strong person is another strong person. You know, but they're with them. Nobody has to be behind anybody. They're with them. Y'all are together in this thing. I get what they're trying to say, but you're with each other, and you're gonna tell it. You know, you ain't the person that I've had the conversation with, so I can't. You can't get a permission, Deborah. So nah. Let's see. Don't get me wrong. I need a woman in my life. I've been seeing this woman for almost a year now, but our lives are different. She has a teen, and I have two grown young ladies. Time together is rare. You learn how to money, and so did he from your parents. Yep. That's good. I didn't learn how to handle money at all. I know I brought it up, but I can do that. I'm me. Sometimes I'm an asshole. Bring stuff up and then just leave it. And you got to think about it. And you're like, what the hell are you talking about? I know that's wrong. I hate when people do that to me. But I didn't talk about it. We forgot to talk about that part. So I have a conversation. What? Um yeah, having a situation where you got a blended family, you got two grown daughters and they got a teenager. Yeah, that one, spending time together is difficult, but you can make it happen. Well, I can't say that because I don't know y'all situation. Y'all situation may be jacked up where y'all can't spend time together, where you have minimal time to spend together. And y'all been doing this for a year. So if you've been doing it for a year, you must really like her. Yeah, y'all must really like each other. You've been doing it for a year, even though you don't really get to see each other. You got some like slash love going on, So I don't know, man. But that's why you have these. That is why I have these kinds of conversations with my mate before we go too far, because I don't even and there's no timeline that I put on it, but I just know I sat down. She was here at the lounge, and I said, "Hey, look, I need your budget. I need your expenses. I need no. I need. Let me. This is how I do money. When we come together, which actually kind of late. Just thought about that. I haven't made good on that promise because so much has been happening. I hadn't even thought about it. God damn, a lot has happened. It's been a short time, but it feel like a long time, but it's been a short time, and a lot of stuff has happened. But we've had the first level of the conversation of this is how the budget will be ran. You know, um, this is one of my deal breakers. If we can't run the budget like this, I can't function. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, me just freestyling finances is so stupid. When I was in the Marine Corps, budgeted down to the penny, everything is in the right cost center. It's on point. My own personal stuff until I started doing this, my own personal stuff was jacked up. I was like Miss Prissy. I was like the your first husband. I was horrible with money. Horrible with money. Absolutely horrible. I have to have this structure in order for me to be good with money. But even in this structure, before you could before the internet came out and before online bill paying, I was not the best. You know, I write them damn checks and sometimes I wouldn't track it. I wouldn't do it. Oh yeah, I was messed up. I was messed up. And then I would look at people like um, Russell. Y'all know Russell, but Russell, that boy would know how much change is in the car, like in the little change part of the car. He was that like anal about it. He knew how much change was in his car. I was like, man, you crazy. I ain't know I got time for all that. But finances has never really finances was a problem in his relationship. It almost broke his relationship, and that's why he became that way. But ever since then, finances have never been an issue within his relationship. And they've been married now for Russell's been married for at least 20 some odd years. Never been a problem in his relationship. Finances is not one. And if you think about it, if you take finances out of being an issue in a relationship, the only major thing that's a problem is sex. But oftentimes the reason why sex is a problem within the relationship is because finances is a problem in the relationship. If the woman don't feel secure financially, she don't want to give you none. If she feels stressed, she don't want to give you none. Most women are not, and I say most, let me say most women are not like dudes. If a dude is stressed, he want to have sex to get rid of the stress, right? If a man is having a good sex life, generally he goes out and make more money. There's a German study done back in the 50s that proved that. It was done over a 20-year period. So actually it's from the 50s and 60s that proved that a man who has a great sex life generally goes out and makes more money, right? Yeah, or someone's cheating, but which costs money. If you already got financial problems, you go out and cheat, it costs money, you know. I'm telling you right now, I'd be a horrible guy to cheat with. Because I'll be damned if I'm going to spend money on another woman. That part has never made sense to me. That part has never made sense to me. And, I've told you guys before, I was not perfect in my first marriage. But I was spending government money. So it didn't matter. I can't spend my own money on somebody else that's not, like, you ain't my spouse. No. I mean that in like a continuous situation. I have friends, like my friend, when me and Terry and Tish used to hang out, of course I paid for their dinners and all that kind of stuff, or we hung out somewhere and I paid for something. But you know what I mean? Like, we finna go pay for a hotel. I'm finna take some other woman on vacation with me or some bullshit like that. Even when when I was an IT guy and I made a good 6-figure income, I still was not gonna spend money on another woman. It just doesn't make sense to me. I just can't do it. Sorry, I'm on a tangent right there. I do enjoy her. I live about 2 hours away, but I telework. So when I have to go into the office in DC, I have to make some time to see her if she has time. She works 50 hours a week. So making time is key. God dog. She work a lot. You telework and she live 2 hours away. You must really like her, Papa. So I'm glad, but do your thing, man. I can't even do it. I can't be with somebody who live 2 hours away from me. Look, bro, when I was just dating back in 2008, from 2008 to 2010, but when I was just dating during that period of time, if you live more than 20 minutes away from me, I wouldn't date you. That's how 20 minutes was too far. So I was on the north side of Atlanta. You lived on the south side? Nope. If you live too far east, too far west, nope. I had like this whole lines of demarcation. It was like, I'm on 400, Highway 400. If you live past 85 to the right or past 75 to the left, I wasn't dating you. If you was inside the perimeter, I wasn't dating you. And shit, going northwest country, I wasn't going up there anyway. I don't care, Deborah. No, like Deborah lives in College Park. I think, yeah, you say College Park. I would if you was like, oh, I got a friend. They live down here in College Park, because I'm from here, from College Park. I was like, no, it's too far. I'm not dating them. If they want to go out, they're gonna have to meet me halfway. We'll meet in Buckhead, because that's too far. I'm not driving down there. I was living up in Alpharetta. I wasn't dating nobody in College Park. You're too far. If y'all ain't from Atlanta, you don't understand College Park. Don't come in here talking about it's College Park. I live in College Park. No, you live in College Park. But no, it's just too far. I grew up, I accepted the more of a 45-minute kind of thing later on, Deborah. I literally lived in Marietta and Marietta and Alpharetta and Milton, and I dated somebody who lived in Union City. I grew up, I expanded my horizons. I actually dated somebody who I lived in Alpharetta and they lived in Covington. I expanded, but for a while, shit. But I ain't still going for 2 hours. We're not doing 2 hours. Look, 2 hours. That would go on my below area. What's the thing? Something that's bringing us further apart. You live 2 hours away. I ain't picking on you, Papa, but I am. You live 2 hours away. That's too far. Can't do it. I can't. Oh, you're willing to move? Okay, that goes into our upper, But that's something to talk about, Papa. So maybe y'all move closer together. I don't know if y'all buying or you're renting, or if both of y'all are owning your home, buying your homes. One might, y'all been talking for a year. Might be time to come into the house together. I'm pretty sure that the daughter, the teenager by now. Might be time to do that. Then you can rent one of the houses. Whoever house you move to, that house can be rented as a source of income so that you can increase on your 70-10-10-10 budget. But if they understand that, like I tell them, I'm not running this. I'm not running the budget. See, I don't have a problem. If I'm going to give you my, and that's the thing, you just have to trust the person. I trust you enough that I'm gonna let you. I'm willing to put all my money into these accounts, and you run the thing. Go ahead. I don't want to deal with it. Now, I'm not always perfect on my 70-10-10-10, like I'm not right now. Not right now. Had some stressful business. Had a very stressful business year. And some of you guys know that I had a good friend of mine. She stayed with me for 3-4 months, and she passed away. And I took care of a lot of her finances during that time frame, so it kicked my ass. It literally, I was manhandling my 70-10-10-10. That stuff kicked my ass. I ain't manhandling nothing right now. I'm trying to make it all work. And things like that happen. But the beauty of it is that after you've done this and you've gotten used to it, you can get back to it. I've been in and out of it several times, so it's something that you can work on. But that's also the beauty of this is not a one-time thing. This is not a one-time deal. You can do this multiple times. If you see that the relationship is kind of going off to the left a little bit, whip this joint out and say, hey, let's do this. Let's evaluate this relationship so that we can come to, bringing this thing back together. We've been drifting. Let's bring it back together. I didn't have that understanding when I was younger. This is something that I figured out like 2012, 13, something like that. I do enjoy. I missed some of the stuff. Don't get me wrong. I've been not there. I do enjoy her. I live about 2 hours away. Back to work. You got that one. Between first and second marriage, I lived in Annapolis, and I dated in Marina Del Rey. Oh, hell no. Buffalo, New York, and St. Louis. Hell no. You crazy, Miss Prissy. I said it. Don't get mad at me. But hell no. God damn. You in Annapolis and they in Buffalo. I guess Marina Del Rey, I think that's in Florida. And then in Buffalo, New York, and St. Louis, I can't do it. I cannot do it. I like her very much. We met before I moved, so it was popping last spring. I moved in July. Once October hit, we see each other about twice a month. Saw them every week, only dated one at a time. I get it. People do that. Right before I started dating the young lady that I'm in a relationship with right now, like right before that, I met this young lady. She lives on the other side of the country. She was nice. We had a good first little meetup. It was a chance meetup. Me being a smart ass, and we had and we didn't do nothing physically, but we just kind of just met up and talked and had a good day. That day turned into having some good conversations for a weekend. And then I found out where she lived. I said, you know what? We're going to be good friends. Because that's about all we can be. It's just good friends. Because there ain't nowhere in hell. I'm not built for long distance relationship. Never met her daughter or her family. She only met my younger daughter because we bumped into her. My friends and family knows about her. Bro, y'all been dating for a year. It might be time to meet some family. If you're gonna try to make it long lasting. In College Park, no, the person wasn't in college. They didn't live in College Park, and I was like, that's too far away. They lived in Maine. I live in Stone Mountain. They live in Maine. No. That's too far away from me. I can't do that. She was a nice lady when I met her. Had a great conversation that day. Had a great conversation the next day. But then when I realized Maine, I was like, can't do it. Yeah, everybody's not built for long distance relationship. I'm just happen to be one such person that's just not built for long distance relationships. And I know this is going to sound, if you knew me well, you fully understand it. Maine costs too much money. Long distance relationship, that costs too much money for me to take on a chance of dating. Because the way I perceive it, because I got to see my person, right? So the closer and closer we get emotionally, the more and more I'm going to want to see that person. So what may start out as once a month turns into twice a month, turns into 3 times a month, turns into 4 times a month. Now it's like every weekend I'm going to Maine, or during the week I'm going to Maine. I'm just using Maine since I brought that one up. Them plane tickets, or they flying down here and I'm paying for this ticket for them to fly down here. And then every time they come, you're going to want to go out and do all this stuff, and you're spending all this goddamn money. So you wind up spending thousands and thousands of dollars. And then a year later, you realize that y'all ain't going to be together. I'm going to look back at that year and be like, this is some bullshit. I'm going to go through that budget and be like, that was some bullshit. I ain't doing it. See what I'm saying? I thought about that. In 2008, when I got divorced, I thought about that because, that's, it was like there's dating apps and there's people all over. You can meet people all over the world. And I thought about the long distance thing because I got small children. I had a business. I knew I was going to be busy. Do I really have time to deal with somebody who lives near? And I was just like, when I calculated the money, nah. Right. My 70-10-10-10 would not have worked. It won't. Because I'm going to have to calculate this, I'm going to have to calculate the travel and stuff into the 70%, which means that I got to live on a day-to-day basis in a lower level lifestyle, and especially back in 2008, my kids are small, so I got to have room. The houses in Alpharetta weren't cheap back then. I had to have room for 3 kids. And so, no, long distance back then wasn't going to work. Long distance now, not going to work. And then I got, I'm not the easiest person to date, when somebody meet me. Because one of my first things is say, hey, look, Papa Soul, don't take this person. This is just me. Oh, you got a teenager? No, I'm good. My kids are grown. I'm good. I've tried that a couple times. Love them. And the reason why is this. I fall in love with the kids real quick. Like, I will fall in love with those children real fast, and I don't want to let the kids go. It's like I forced the relationship I built with the kids ain't got shit to do with the person, the parent, the mama. And then the breakup happens, and I'm sitting up here, depending upon who that parent is. Now I can't talk to the child, because that relationship ain't had nothing to do with it. So it hurts me. So, like, even right now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, 7, 8. Sorry, 8 kids from people that I've dated since the furthest back goes to 2015 of actually dating. 1 kid I got close to, and before I ever dated the mom, I got close to the kid because they were coming to the popcorn shop. But there's like 8 kids out there that I got love for. But most of them, I can't even talk. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that, because that one's now grown. That one's grown. That one's grown. So 3 of them are grown and desires to still communicate with me. There's 3 other grown ones. They're grown now, but it's a little shaky. Except for one of them. One of them we good. Another one came back and he did tell me that, I realized everything I was trying to teach him. And me and him, we good. We just, we just had that stress. But there's like two other ones out there that I care about. Can't even really talk to them. So now, I can do no teenagers. I shut down the popcorn shop almost 4 weeks ago. All these little jokers running around here want $15, $20 an hour, and I ain't paying it. No, so I shut it down. Plus, there's something getting ready to happen that also made me shut it down. But yeah, so that part, and y'all know I have no intentions of living in America, continental America. So that's another thing that I have to ask every woman that I meet. Do you have to live here in America? Because in X amount of time, I'm leaving. If she's like, well, nope, ain't gonna work. You gotta go. I was divorced in January 2021, so the ideal of LDR was never. LDR was new. Oh, long distance relationship was new and exciting for me. I started dating a woman in Jacksonville, Florida, perfect woman, but realistically, I knew I couldn't keep that up. Yeah, I couldn't. I can't either. I bring back memories for you, Miss Prissy. You were lucky most of us flew for free. Shit, that don't even count. Even the one who lived in Boston. That don't even count. I drove 32 hours to Washington State for my now significant other. I'm a nomad though. Ooh. 32 hours. Okay, I'm gonna be a little. I gotta be me. 32 hours. Ooh, Wakil. That must be some good pom pom. That must be some good pom pom. 32 hours driving. Wait a minute. Wakil 2030. Who is that? Where do you live right now, Wakil? I just have a theory as to who you might be. Wait a minute. Let's see. See, now I'm calculating as to who this person may be based on the information they just said. Might be somebody I know, might not be. But 32 hours might be too far. But, 32 hours. God damn. That's some good pom pom. I don't know. Would y'all drive? God damn. Sorry, I just got stuck there for a second. That's a long way to go get your. I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. Great. I'm glad it works for you. That's amazing. That's like amazing to me. 32 hours for a relationship. Wow. The good thing about a long distance relationship, I would imagine, though, is that you spend a lot of time talking on the phone or video chatting. So you actually spend a lot of time communicating with each other to kind of get to know each other, and you get to know each other differently in that process. I'm just a very physical person. I need to touch you. I need to touch your face. I need to hold your hand. When I crack a joke and you ain't there for me to like, well, that's very crazy. I need you a little closer. I need you closer. So you wouldn't drive 32 hours, let him drive. Not let him drive that far. Yeah. I mean, but hey, you gotta think about it. There's 8 billion people on the planet. This is why I did the video long time ago. And I was like, somebody asked me about soulmates. And I was like, you got multiple different types of soulmates and you can have multiple soulmates. Because there is absolutely no way, if you have one soulmate on this whole planet, that person could be in China somewhere. You will never meet them. That means you're destined to live your life in relationships without your soulmate. I think that there are multiple people who can become your soulmate, even romantically, that can become your soulmate. That's why I'm not against polygamy, because I think you can simultaneously love multiple people, be in love with multiple people. I have no problems with that. But as far as romantic soulmates, there are most of the time you are going to date people who are within your local region. They could be in, I'm in Atlanta, they could be in Birmingham and never meet them. So no, you can have multiple soulmates. There are people close enough to you, in around you, that you can interact with, who you can connect with on that deeper level. So, and especially, you know, I always got to bring it back. If you can utilize a program, something like this, to make the relationship work. Or you say, Pop, that thing must have been fire. Must have been fire. But you know, if she was 32 hours driving away, why would you drive 32 hours though? Get a plane, man. I feel like driving 32 hours, you drove off the coast of Florida, you know, you drove off the coast of California or Florida somewhere, and you was driving on the water in the ocean. Like, where is 32 hours driving? It just seems like a lot in my head right now, and probably for a person who already rode a motorcycle from Atlanta to from San Diego and LA, yeah, I probably did ride we probably did ride for 32 hours. I don't know how long it took us to get there, as far as total ride time, because we were stopping. But you know what, bro? If that was the right one, proud of you. Stick with it. One day y'all got to move closer, though. Wakil don't want to say nothing else. I need to know who you are. Where do you live, Wakil? 32 hours. Goddamn. That just threw me off, y'all. But yeah, so that's why we do this. That's why you should do this in your relationship regularly. You know, somebody in my life about to do this real soon. Like this week, we gonna do this. Yep. Because in all honesty, me and my lady have not done this yet. And it's something that, and I think one of the reasons why her and I haven't done it is because we have been together since like August. And we haven't had any arguments. We've only had one incident, but no arguments, because we didn't even argue during the incident. We've easily talked everything out, you know. And most of the things that for some people might have become a argument, it wasn't an argument. We already know that the biggest distraction is time, because I'm here for 12, 14 hours. Michigan to Washington State. Okay, so you're not the Wakil out. So the Wakil part is not who I was thinking about. You live in Michigan. Got it. That's 32 hours from Michigan to Washington State. It doesn't seem like it's that far. I'm thinking you drove from like Maine to San Diego. But we haven't, the only reason her and I haven't done this is because usually, and this is something that's interesting for me. I know this is still within the framework of this thought process. Usually this comes up, I bring this up with somebody when I'm dating them, simply because I'm seeing that there's some deal breaking issues that are present, right? Oh, now you live in Washington State, and yes, that thing is fire. Well, there you go. If it's fire, we will move. But we usually in a relationship, usually within the first month, there is something deal breaker ish in a relationship with most people that I've dated. And so this comes up earlier. This may come up in the second, third month of us dating, fourth month, because I'm thinking that, okay, there's something deal breaker ish, but there's a lot of good. So let me see if we can work it out, the deal breaker ish thing. But we've been together since August. We've known each other though for over a year, for almost a year and a half. But there hasn't been a need for it. which is the only reason why we haven't. And we've already discussed. It's kind of like we've done it without doing it, because just the question and answer and just the conversation. But like, I know that the biggest distraction is time, because I'm here 7 days a week most of the time, and I don't leave here till 11 o'clock most on some nights, and 1 o'clock on other nights. Coach Renz, what are your deal breakers? Well, we got to be personal. Why we, Miss Prissy? Why we personal? My deal breakers. Small children. If you have small children, I used to be accepting of teenagers, but like I expressed earlier, I wouldn't accept teenagers anymore. I don't want to create that bond with somebody, and then the relationship don't work out. So now, children that are still in the household, or young, or still in high school, no. Poor financial management, because I've dated some poor financial management, and that just brought on more stress. So that would be a deal breaker for me now, and that's through experience. A person who can't keep an organized and clean house, that would be a deal breaker, because I'm a little bit OCD. If you're ever here in the lounge and you'll see that the remote controls on the tables, they, like right now, they're crooked, because the person who left here last night left them crooked. It has been bothering me the whole time that we've been doing this video. That's why I keep looking over there. The people on my YouTube, they know what my spirituality is based off of. They know my spirituality, because that's the main type of video done on the YouTube channel. And so a person who is a part of any of the traditional religions, I cannot be with. That is an immediate deal breaker. That is, you walked in, I met you, I'm gonna find that out within the first 10 minutes. And if you are Christian, Muslim, Jewish, we're not gonna be together. That's a deal breaker, immediate deal breaker. Very much an immediate deal breaker. If you cannot leave America, that's an immediate deal breaker. If you cannot control your emotions to the point that when we have a disagreement and even if it gets heated, you start calling me out of my name, that's a deal breaker. If you become physically violent towards me, that's a deal breaker, because I don't do violence of any kind. I know that a lot of people are taught that, oh, if a woman is hitting a man, that's, the man should be able to just take it. Hell no. I don't believe in any kind of physical violence whatsoever. So immediate deal breaker in that. But that loss of emotional control is what leads to that physical violence. Calling somebody out of their name is going to eventually could lead to physical violence, but it's also a situation where people come back and say, well, I didn't mean it. No, yes, you did. You did mean it. Because that's a part of you that shows that you're a very vengeful person, and that what you want to do is come out and try to hurt me on purpose. That if you get angry, you want to I can't trust you with my innermost secrets, with those things that makes me vulnerable, because if I were to tell you those things, you will then use those things against me in an argument to try to purposely hurt me. And a person who's like that, and honestly, that person to me can never be in love with me. They may love me, but they can never be in love with me. And if you're not in love with me, then we cannot grow. You cannot grow, to the top. We can't get to the fullness of us. We can't get up here. So, no. Nope. As soon as you start, you motherfucker, calling me names out my name, and then, I used to keep from people the fact that I was molested as a small child, right? But, I did a video on YouTube, a couple of videos where I've discussed that. And it turned out that it helped a lot of dudes out, because most men will never admit when they have had that type of trauma. But in a video, I think the first time I said it, it was back when I was doing videos with Kevin. But the fact that I admitted that, it also helped me. it helped me to release a lot of the trauma that I didn't realize I was still dealing with it. The thing is, though, is there has been at least 2 women that I dated that when I told them about that, when we broke up, they decided to try to use that to hurt me. But they had this, but part of their breakup came because they displayed the personality of violence, and they displayed the personality of trying to be vengeful and hurt me in other methods, um, of other things that I had told them. And then they turn around and they use that at the breakup point to really try to hurt me. So a person who doesn't have emotional control, I can't deal with at all. So yeah, those are probably those are my real deal breakers. Anything else is going to fall within those categories, within their personality. And I know that's why I said it's hard to date me, because I'm not going to live here in America. I'm not going to be with a religious person, and I'm not falling in love with somebody's children again when they're young, because I'm not going to want to end those relationships with the children. But that's it. That's about it. Ebony Garrett, how you doing? Me and my partner are moving together, but we do live 3 hours apart. We used to live in the same city, but I left for a better job opportunity. He's here every weekend. Now, see that? I can see how that could work out. In 3 hours, and I'm that kind of person that I'll be there every weekend. You're gonna get tired of me. I might as well just leave some clothes at your house, because I'm coming, and then I'm gonna find a job or change my job or telework or something. So I'm gonna have to give. But that's good that y'all making that effort. The woman that I was in love with, we couldn't last because her money management and her household was not on the level. Yeah, I cannot do that. I cannot deal with a house that is unkept. I can't deal with stuff being everywhere. And there are differences. There's a difference between clutter and nasty. I can't even do the clutter. I need shelving. I need to organize. Things need to be put up in its place. I'm not now. I used to be with a woman who was like fanatical about it, to where the house was like a museum and it was uncomfortable. I'm not that far off. I'm not that far off where you can't even be comfortable in your space. But, certain things just need to be where they need to be, and things can't be so much stuff that is tight. I like open space, And maybe because I got a little slight claustrophobia, maybe that's why. I don't know. It's like a slight. Like, I can deal with closed spaces, but I remember being a kid and feeling like the walls were closing in on me. And the first time I went on a submarine, man, I was about to die. I was like, y'all gotta get me the hell out of this. If they weren't gonna get me out that submarine, I was gonna kill somebody. I couldn't take it. That little tin box and the walls are tight. Oh. The woman I'm dating claims J-Dub, but sure as hell don't act like one. Nor does she go to church. When I told her I denounced religion, she was disturbed at first, but grew to know that I am a righteous man. So does she understand that if she introduced you to her family, and maybe this is why you haven't met her family, Papa Soul, she is going to have to choose either you or her family. Okay? Because if her family is still practicing J-Dubs or still believes in that, her dating you, she will either have to renounce you or renounce the religion, and then her family, depending upon her, now they may not, but if they follow the rules, her family will then denounce her. And are you ready to take on that responsibility of the emotional depression, because it will come from her family denouncing her, not speaking to her, not dealing with her. I mean, she becomes an apostate. Are you ready to take that on and be her family? Because you will be her family at that point. You, her friends, if her friends are not J Dubs, no, your family, y'all will become her family. Meaning that you got to be ready to take on this woman pretty much as your wife. Not pretty much. You got to be ready to take this woman on as your wife. If she ever introduces you to the family, if y'all wanted to make this thing happen, because Jehovah's Witness, that's their process. That's what they do. You know. So y'all might need to do this most immediately and have that conversation. And you need to understand and understand the level of what that means. You know. And you need to think about that. Because are you emotionally strong enough and ready to take her as your family? If not, don't meet her family at all. And y'all just keep playing. Keep your dating thing and y'all just keep dating. But that's what that's going to mean if her family is still practicing J-Dub. That hence is one reason why I will never, ever again date or be with a woman who practices a traditional religion. Huh. I never noticed that. It has a signature on the back of it. But yeah. So I hope you're ready for that, bro. Well, I hope you've thought about that and you realize that. Because that's a very important thing. You know, for your saying it, for you and for her child. You know. Because you and her friends and your family will become all that she got. Nothing else. So really, she would have to walk away from that religion. She would have to renounce that religion. She would have to stop claiming it. And that's a whole nother level. And remember what we talk about, one of my favorite verses of the Gospel of Thomas: seeking you shall find, and when you find, you will be disturbed. After you disturbed, though, you will marvel, and you will reign over all, meaning all of yourself. But recognize, most people can't get past the disturbed part. Most people, the disturbed part is too disturbing, and they wind up going back to the religion. You know, and I've been through it. Dated the Christian. It eventually brought on problems, even though they said they respect everything, they understand everything. Dated the 7-day Adventist. In the beginning, I respect everything. I honor what you do. Lord, just don't try to convert me. It was good, but it did start becoming a problem. It became. I recommend against it. I used to say that people can be together who are like that. Not no more. Not anymore. My lady, no. I asked her very plainly, do you believe in Jesus? Do you believe that Jesus or Allah or whatever is the only way that you can, connect with the all? If she would have said that, yes, this is the only way, I'm like, you know what? We just gonna be friends. That's all we can be. Because no matter how good I am, how good she is, at some point, that's the core of people's lives. At some point, they're going to, it's going to become a problem. I even used to try to explain to the Christian, well, according to your Bible, it says that no one in heaven is married. So what does it matter if we're together here on earth? We ain't gonna be married in heaven according to your beliefs. So why does it matter to you? I used to try to give them the logical understanding so that it would kind of help them to be able to say that, okay, we're just here on earth together. My salvation ain't got nothing to do with your salvation. So it is what it is. But it didn't matter what I pointed out in their books. They still held on to it. And, of course, they bring up the equally yoked thing. And then it becomes a problem. It becomes one of those. It becomes one of these things that pulls you away from each other, right? And then especially for me, since I'm out here, you know, I share my thoughts and I make these videos, it becomes even a bigger thing because it's something that I'm constantly involved in. It's something that people, they'll come by the lounge and we talk about it, or people who I've, you know, met people online. Plus, you know, it's something that for me, this, doing these videos, I was just telling my lady last night, I don't know if it was last night or the night before, I was telling her that my eventuality is being able to produce these videos every day. Like this is not every day. I mean, I say every day. I mean, I say every day. Y'all be like, no, you say it every day. But it's to be able to do this full time. Like Monday through Friday, we live. You know, we flying around doing seminars, and you know, I produce classes, and you know, those classes will not be free. Go ahead and say it now. But have whole class structures and helping people to deconstruct and then find their path for whatever their path is. Not something that I'm pushing. I'm not pushing any path. But for a person to be with me, they will have to deal with that. I was like, are you sure you want to be the first lady of deconstruction, of the Church of Deconstruction? You want to be the first lady of the Church of Deconstruction? But you got to ask those kind of questions, and you got to recognize who you with. My ex-wife was, yes, it's a divide. My ex-wife was Jehovah's Witness, and she pocketed money while I was overseas. I came home from a year to 2000. I came home from a year to $2,000 only to find out she pocketed money and left me high and dry in debt. Yeah. Those family ties are hard for people to break. And when you're in a religion cult like that one, that's hard. And you got to think about that as far as relationship goes. And for like the people on my YouTube channel, I know the TikTok channel this particular TikTok channel is not based on religion, neither is this Facebook channel. But my YouTube is based on spirituality. That is a very important thing to understand, that if you're not of similar mind, you ain't got to be the same mind, but similar mind, it's hard. It's hard to be with that person. That's one reason why it's hard to be with me. It was a young lady I had met a couple years ago. I met her. She was an attractive woman. She flirted with me. And then I saw that cross on her neck. I was like, I'm good. Angelina, I don't even know what that means. What the heck did you post? It looked like a pillow with two eyes. I don't know what that means. My grandfather would send us to the store, and we had to bring back a receipt. Oh, he's gonna keep. You talking about money? Mm-hmm. See, I don't want to have to do that. I need to be able to trust my person, that I rarely have to check the checkbook. Like, in all honesty, anytime that I've been doing that, I did the 70-10-10-10 with somebody, I was the one that they controlled it. The only account that I paid attention to was my leisure account and the investment account. The rest of the accounts I didn't pay attention to, you know, because I trusted them to make sure everything. As long as I come home, the lights on. As long as and I'm one of those guys, because I grew up in a house where we didn't have food. So I would walk in the house. I'm not hungry, but I'm gonna open that refrigerator every time I walk in the house. Just look at it and close it. You know, there's some food in there. It makes me feel good, right? So I need to As long as I see all that, I'm fine. I'm not even paying attention to where any of the money goes. I know because I know everything is already allocated. I know how the budget works. I know there shouldn't be extra. If there's extra money, then it's like, oh, uh, I might know it's like there's an extra $100 in here, and it's an easy question. Why is there an extra $100 in there? Oh, well, this bill was a little bit low. The electric bill was a little bit lower this time, but I know the electric bill is gonna be a little bit higher at some other point. I know the gas bill is low, but the gas bill is gonna be high. Oh shit, I gotta pay the gas bill. I just realized that. See, I hate doing this shit. But the only other account, even the fun account, I'm the one that'd be like, hey, how much money we got in that fun account? Oh, we got $20 left. It's the 29th. We need to go spend this $20. I've deconstructed in the last 10 years of my marriage. I've deconstructed the last 10 years of my marriage. I've been married 20 years. And it's been sad. So you deconstructed from religion over the last, you can deconstruct the last 10 years of your marriage, or you can deconstruct from religion, and you've been married for 20, and that's difficult. If I'm understanding you correctly, you deconstructed from religion is what I'm thinking you're saying. 10 years ago, and y'all been married 20 years, that would be hard. It's hard to do that as you change. Yeah, that's hard. That's a hard one there because there's so much love there and there's so much, and I get that one. Actually, that was part of my first marriage. It was the fact that when we met, I was still kind of in and out, figuring it out because we was teenagers. But I guess it was easier for her because she saw me go through the progression. She saw me going to study, and she knew it wasn't like somebody, how they always try to throw church hurt on you. That it wasn't that somebody did something. She saw me just go through the process. She saw me go through all the struggles of it and all that kind of stuff. So it was done in a way that she could respect and understand why that happened. So for the two of us, that was never a problem in that relationship. That wasn't a problem. So hopefully, if that person can see what your process, if your person can see your process, maybe that will help them. If you can remind them of that process, it can help them to understand it. They may never fully understand it because it's not something that they went through themselves, but it may help them to understand it. I'm not going to trust anyone who can leave me high and dry. No one should have a problem with giving accounts for money giving account for money to me. If they do, there's a problem. And one thing about my 70-10-10-10 system and the fact that you have an allowance, and this was amazing. There was at one point, so I had this one contract that I was working, right? And that contract, the household was still, the 70-10-10-10 was still based on when I made $50,000. But now I'm making 3 times as much, more than 3 times as much. The allowance was high, right? And when the contract abruptly ended, because we had been saving so much, we had so much left over. We spent a lot of it because now I didn't have a job for it. I didn't have a contract, and I didn't have a job. Then I went out and I started a whole other business that takes time to grow. And so a lot of it got spent. But then some years later, when we did get a divorce, she had saved a lot of her money that for her leisure account. I had saved some of my leisure account money. So we both actually still had some money. And then, of course, we just divvied up some of the other stuff, some of the other money. So, you still shouldn't be high and dry. If you read The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, he's taken on a 70-10-10-10 kind of motif as well. And one of the things that he talks about is that in your leisure account, still break that down into a 70-10-10-10, where you're still saving personal money, you're investing your personal money, so that you still are creating personal finances as well. And that's something that a person can do with their leisure money. You don't necessarily have to go out and spend all your leisure money on your leisure. I was just the one that was like, I'm gonna go play golf. Damn near every day, I'm either at a golf. I'm either hitting some balls or I'm playing a whole round. Sometimes I'm doing both, and I'm buying cigars. You know, but you can take your 70-10, you can take your allowance and still break that down and save some of that as well, because that is your money to do whatever you want. Uh, oh, now you don't believe in God? Is that the first thing they say? You know what's funny about you saying that, uh, Deborah, is I had a dream. Part of one of my dreams last night. Part of one of my dreams last night, and I was thinking I'm gonna make a whole video about it. Is that I came across a person. I was talking to somebody I know. I can't figure out who it was that I know, but I was talking to somebody I know, and they asked me, and they were Christian. No, I was being interviewed, but I knew it was somebody who's famous. I was being interviewed, like on an Oprah show or something like that, and the person was an American. No, it wasn't Oprah. It was on a news channel. I was being interviewed on a news channel, and the person said, you know, uh, "Do you believe in God?" And I said, "Why do you?" I said, um, "It's interesting that you asked me why do I believe in God." I said, if I came in here and I was Indian, I was dressed as a person who was Hindu, would you have asked me the question of do I believe in God? Um, the interview was about reparations, though. And I was like, why would you ask me that question? Now, if I was dressed as a Hindu, would you ask me that question? The person was like, well, no, I wouldn't ask you that question if he was Hindu. And I was like, why not? I said, because you are Christian, right? And the person was like, yeah. I said, okay. So if you're Christian, but you would ask me because I'm a Black American, because you make the assumption that I must be Christian. But if I was Hindu, you wouldn't ask that question because you would respect the Hindu person's belief. You would have a henotheistic thought process. And I explained henotheism to that person. And they was like, well, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that other people's gods exist. I said, so why wouldn't you ask that question to a Hindu person? And it was like, because I would respect their religion. I said, so why can't you respect mine? Why does it that I have to believe in your God or I don't believe in a God at all? You know, or that there is a creator? That why do you ask me that question? Why do you make the Christian supremacy of asking that question? And this was a white person I was talking to as well. So why do you ask me that question? Right? Because you're making that assumption and you have no respect for my beliefs, but you have respect for the beliefs of other people who are in the traditional religions. I was like, that's very supremacist of you. Right. And then that's the only thing that happened in the dream. But that is a mentality. People will, if you look like them, in the same culture as them, and you say you don't believe in their version, they assume that you are then atheist. You know, and then you have to go through this whole process of explaining to them, if there's somebody that you actually care about them, you go through this whole process of explaining to them, like, of what you do believe, whether you are atheist or not, whether you are just believe that there's a creator, but none of these books hold them. So it becomes this whole thing. And you'll have to explain that. I mean, since this is a spouse, it is a process, and you want to be with this spouse, you do have to go through that process and explain everything to them. And hopefully, they can come to an understanding and at that minimum respect what you believe, because they can no more prove that there is a creator than I can. Except I use nature and the universe as a hypothesis as to why that I accept that there is a creator, but I could be wrong. There may not be a creator. Shit, this may all be a simulation, which would still mean that there's a creator. So let me not say assimilation, but you know what I mean. Um, so it's like that's a struggle. That's something that you'll have to deal with, and hopefully there can be at least enough respect that the person, or there's enough love for you as the person that they still want to be there. Have you seen the Truman Show? Yes, I love the Truman Show. The Truman Show is a great breakdown of that very thing. You know, your whole world is a simulation that is controlled. Um, You know, they've actually found computer code in atoms and DNA and atoms. Is that somebody coming over here? Good. I don't feel like getting off this live, even though it's after 12. Y'all know it's after 12. It's almost 1 o'clock. So if somebody walks in, I have to shut down the live. I normally say that around 12, but yeah. But yeah, it's the Truman Show. Actually, I watched this movie Coco last night for the first time. I watched Coco. Yeah. Gonna have to break that movie down a little bit. I like there are certain aspects of Coco that lends to the whole one of my thought processes and theories as far as what happens to us when we leave the matter plane of existence. Got to do this video about this movie Coco. I was tricked into watching it last night. Oh, you love Coco? Yep. I got tricked into watching Coco. I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning watching Coco. I could use that as an excuse of why I didn't start this live at 10 o'clock like I'm supposed to. But that's not the excuse. That's not the excuse. We've had, Atlanta weather is very bipolar. So we went from 80 degrees. Well, we went from 50 to 80, and then it was back to 50. So it was cold in the house when I got up this morning, and I was moving slow. Coach, what happened to the lady next door to you complaining about the cigar smoke? Well, the lady next door, she moved. She closed her business down and she moved, but it didn't have nothing to do with the cigar smoke. She left because she just didn't have enough business, and it was a hair salon. She was only here by appointment only. But she complained about the smoke that one time. Then she realized that she needed to vent her space. Keep leaving it closed up, and she put some air fresheners in there because I can only do so much to prevent smoke. But she'll be all right. But she closed down. But that was mainly because she didn't have a big enough book of business for a hairdresser, and she was never just open so that she can get walk-ins. People always thought it was closed, and she never really promoted and tried to get the women that come here. My client base in this cigar lounge is 30%. She wasn't trying to get the women that went to the popcorn shop. She wasn't like people at the popcorn shop would ask about her, but she was never here. So if I had the money right now, I would take the space next door. All of this, see that humidor behind me? I would turn this entire room into the humidor, and that would be the lounge. And then the computer guy would be complaining. But he'll be all right. But I got some other plans that are coming to fruition around the end of the year. I'm gonna be doing some different things. Some of y'all gonna like it. Some of y'all gonna be like, man, that's some bullshit. But you're gonna be happy, but you're gonna be like, this joke here. But it will allow for me to be able to do this, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I ain't gonna do Fridays. So I said 5 days early. I ain't doing Fridays. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, run through the Wednesday and Thursday. Technically, I can add Monday in right now, but I'm not. I am not. Because I still have some errands that I need to run. On Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I don't have time to really run errands. But yeah, so I forgot what we were talking about. But yeah. But I really want you guys to try this though. Help your relationship. You can really help your relationships out when you try it, when you do it. Anybody got any other questions? Any other statements? Let me see. Did I miss anything? Did I miss anybody? No. I appreciate you guys for hearting this. What is this thing called? Thank you for the I don't know what the lightning bolt does, but thank you for it. Appreciate everybody who have supported the channels, whether through financially or through sharing. Thank you for that. You have mentioned you've mentioned your deal breaker, but not looks should your comment mean, look are not important. Oh, but not looks. Yeah, I did that on purpose, Miss Prissy. I do have deal breakers when it comes to the physical attributes of my lady. I do. Um, I tend not to say them out loud because uh, not that you would care because you're married, but other people, even though they have no intentions of dating me, I have no intentions, I don't even know them, they become angry because I would have physical standards of beauty. But I do. I do have physical standards of beauty. And if a person is outside of my physical standards of beauty, then I cannot deal with them. Now, I have a range within that. Generally, I would say, as far as like size wise, if you're below a two, no, too little. If you're above, 14, 16, it depends on the symmetry. Depends on the symmetry. Like the guys in here pick on me because when there's a woman with a real big butt, I'm like, yeah, it look nice. It's all right for like every now and then, but I don't. That's every day. That's too much for me. I don't. I'm probably one of the few black guys that doesn't like a big old butt. I like little booties. I champion the little booties. Little booties. What they saying? Little booties deserve love too. I like the small ones, but like once you start hitting like 16s and 18s and all that, it's it can be attractive, but it's not what I want every day. If that makes any sense. So you couldn't sign off before you heard this. But yeah, it wouldn't be I wouldn't be attracted to it every day. You know what I'm saying? Like it's nice to look at every now and then. Like that girl Megan Thee Stallion. That's too much for me. It's too much woman. And I know some guys like, man, you crazy, you fine, and she's nice. Don't get me wrong, but I think about it in a longer term thing. Every day, that's too much. And then I think about long term effects. Um, and my preference is black women. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. My preference is black women. But I look at the long term health issues. A woman she could be 30, 40, 50 years old and have a nice frame and everything. And it be one of them thick, what do they say? Thicker than a snicker. Certainly she's a 10 though. Who, Megan Thee Stallion? I don't think she's a 10. But I mean, beauty's in the eye of the beholder though. So uh if you got a woman that's a woman that's thicker than a snicker, you have a higher probability of health issues when she gets older. And I don't plan on being inactive when I'm older. Um, you have a higher probability of things like high blood pressure and diabetes and these sorts of things. I've met people um, who have those issues, and it pretty much disables them, and it disables them more mentally than anything else. And I am the type of person that says that, hey, I want to go to Egypt. I want to walk the pyramids. I want to go to Lake Titicaca. I want to go to you know all these different. I want to go to the Nazca, go see the Nazca lines. And you gotta get on the plane to fly over the Nazca line. I I don't want, if you talking about some, well, my blood pressure too high, my diabetes won't let me walk. That I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go. I mean, I ain't leaving them, but I'm going. I will. All right, babe. Finna go to Egypt for 2 weeks. See you when I get back. And I remember I was talking to a friend of mine. We weren't dating, but we were just talking. I was talking about going to Egypt. She was like, "Oh, I'll go to Egypt with you." And I was like, "And she prissy, she bougie." I was like, "You gonna go to Egypt? You gonna go out in that desert, the sand, and this is just a friend of mine. Uh, we would never date, but this is just a friend of mine." And she was like, "No, I just stay at the hotel." I said, "I took your damn mind. You think you gonna go to Egypt with me, and then all you're gonna do is stay in the hotel and wait for me to come back? You ain't going nowhere with me. I So she can't just go and be at the hotel or just be at the resort or whatever. No, hell no. She's a 10 because she's in the media, and most 10s have a nasty attitude. You know, a lot of the ones who would be categorized that physically, that I have dated, they some of the most irritating and can't hold a conversation with them. You know, y'all see how much I like to talk. I gotta be a hell of a conversation. Brutally honest right now. Yeah, I am. I'm being brutally honest about it. But yeah, I don't like that. I need. I have my standard, my structure. And I actually dated a girl who was below a size. The reason why the size 2 and below became a thing, because I remember I was dating this girl. I had met her. I forgot how I met her. This was back in 2009. And everything was fine when I met her. We went out for that first date, and it was like, it was great. And I could see she was real small and everything. It was great conversation. And then a couple weeks into it, we do the grown folks thing. And then she was walking in front of me, butt naked. I literally felt like a child molester. She was so goddamn little. I just couldn't do it. She looked like a little kid from the back. So the remaining time that we talked, I had to always look at her in her face, because no, she was too goddamn little. And of course, I think the fact that my oldest daughter was probably like 12, 13 years old back then, that I'm sure that affected my thought process on that, because I was like, you look like a little kid. Hell no. See, that's why you should only try a 22. She got brains and body. I'm just saying. Oh, a size 22? That's too much woman. That's too much. You just hurt my shoulders. I'm 51 now. I can't do it. Just know I'm black 24/7, and she can't take that. I like all women. No, I understand, but I just prefer to be with a black woman, and also some of the things I talk about and some of the things I want to do in life is going to require me being with a black woman. I really don't think that a person can lead the black community if they're with a person of a different race. It's possible. You can do things. You can help black people. You can do a lot for black people, regardless of who you're married to or who you're with. But at a certain level, that ceases. And Deborah, I got to say this part. I'm gonna get to the height. Okay, let me throw the height in there real quick. Height-wise, I don't have a height preference, right? I don't have a height preference. Height does become an issue. I remember I dated a girl. She was 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", and there was certain bedroom Olympic things that was very stressful. Like when they 6 something like that and you're behind them, they can't be on their knees straight up. They got to spread them things out because it's too high. I can't reach. You can't reach. Your thighs be stretching. It's too much. Can't reach them. So that's the only. But that's just a situation that you just take care of. It's not a deal breaker. The height, I don't really care about the height. But Deborah, that 22. And I've said this in the lounge, and people think I'm stupid for saying it, but they realize what I'm getting at. Now, I don't know. It depends on how that 22 look, right? I'm a straight 5'4" with the small. Right. Thank you. And not every black woman wants a big butt. Well, not every woman wants a big butt. I want you to think about this, Deborah. You got a woman. She a size 22. Let's say she got like real big hips and everything. We driving down the street. Everything's fine. All of a sudden, something happened. The car flip over. We falling. Car now flipped over. Falls upside down. Or right side up, doesn't matter. But the engine is starting to burn. It's on fire. Now, cars don't explode like they do in the movie, but they burn, and they'll burn for a while, and then they'll consume the whole car. Car's on fire. She's like a 22, 24, 25, I don't know, 26. She's a big girl. She can't fit through the window. Only thing I can do is walk up. Maybe it was, hopefully they'll get here before the car burns down. But it's been a pleasure, a plum pleasing pleasure, as Les Brown would say. I can't pull you out the car. I can't pull you out the car. What am I supposed to do? I gotta walk away from that. We in the woods. You done ate something that you ain't supposed to eat. You done passed out. I can't pick you up. You know, if you hurt your leg, you know, you can lean on my shoulder and we can. But I can't pick you up. You stay right here. I'm gonna go get some help. Hopefully a bell won't eat you when I get back. You say pull her out, but what I'm saying, like, okay, so there's a young lady who comes to the lounge. She's very nice. She's funny. She has a very nice personality. We get along great. I don't remember sizes as well, but I'm pretty sure she might be 28, 30, something like that on size, right? But when I look at her hips, she'll be able to get her head, she'll be able to get up to her waist out the window of a car. But them hips and thighs is not getting out of a car. I can't pull her out. You need the jaws of life to get her hips out the car. I was watching this show. It was like, it's about natural disasters. And there was one about tornadoes. And there was a tornado had hit some small town. I forgot where it was at. I think it's in Kentucky. And this warehouse had collapsed and everything. And these people was in there for a while. When they finally got a way to get out, they was getting everybody out, right? But then the black woman who was on the phone who had called the police, no, she was live. She was live on Facebook or something like that. When they were trying to pull her through the hole, guess where she got stuck? Her hips, her butt was too big and she couldn't get out. She was trapped in a fallen warehouse because she had too much booty. You learn how to drive. It could be somebody else's fault. But you know what I'm saying? The lady couldn't get out the warehouse because she had too much booty. So you dead with kill. I'm just saying, man. Y'all, people don't think about these things. I think about these things. Y'all know I sit around and do thought exercises all the time. I literally think about these things. You can't justify it except to say that. That's not your preference. It's not my preference. It's not. But I do think, but that is one of the, I mean, it could be attractive. I can look at it and be like, dang, especially if it got shape and everything to it. And I'm like, damn, she got a nice ass. She got a big old booty and it's nice. You know, I can appreciate it, you know. But I do think about those kinds of situations. And partly because I've been in some of those situations, you know. I've been in some of those situations where, you know, I've been in the car wreck where you needed to get out the window. You know, I haven't been in a crushed building, but I had the grenade drop and had to knock the girl through the glass window. If she was big, I'd have hit her and we fell back. I mean, I went through that window. You know, I may not have been able to exert enough force for us to go out the window when the grenade dropped. So I know it sounds crazy, but my mind thinks like that. I think about stuff like that, you know. But the main thing is it's not my preference. The main thing is just not my preference on a day-to-day basis. And there's utility things that also go into play. All right, since we go in there, you know, okay. I ain't gonna say the person's name, but there was a guy who was in here and we was having this conversation about big booties versus little booties. And one dude said that he was with a girl with a big old booty. I mean, it was a big one. And he said, man, I was behind her. I lost 3 inches. Because, you know, you can only push in so far. And he was like, I lost 3 inches. These are the kind of conversations we have in the cigar lounge. So this is not just me. I am not the only one who brings up these kind of conversations. These jokers will bring this up. And the women will bring these kind of conversations up in here as well. So it happens. And that is one of the reasons why some people love coming to this lounge, because of some of these type of conversations. But that dude said that he lost 3 inches and he could never fully get in there from that position. That's his favorite position. So he wasn't fully satisfied with the encounter. I literally think about stuff like that. Like, yeah, I told him, I said, you know what, that's right. I mean, you only got a couple of positions where you can get all the way in there if they got too much of that. Because, you know, you got thighs. She got all that booty and thighs. You can only go so far. There are many things we can't control, but weight is something we can control. Often people aren't disciplined to lose the weight. It's just my opinion, but I think it's sad. That's not throwing shade. And it's not, you know, you guys know before the popcorn shop, I own a gym and two personal training studios. So I've seen people go from 300 plus pounds down to the 175. I've seen some of them who got just body types, but they were still like 300 something. And they were like 6 foot, 6'1", but they were still able to get into good shape. Do you have daily events at the lounge? When is a good time to visit and vibe? It's luck of the draw. The last 2 days have been boring as shit. Like literally, like right now, usually there's 3 or 4 or 5 guys in here right now, but there's nobody right now. Today is Wednesday. Tonight we can have 10, 15 people in here, or we can have 5 or 6 of us in here. Whoever's in here, we always have a good time though. The vibes are always good. You know, we always have a good time. We always have great conversations. The days that you can kind of count on more people will be your Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, sometimes Sunday. Then it depends on the time of year. You know, you got the Final Four this Saturday, so it's probably going to be some people in here. You know, and half of them in here don't even care about sports. And then the conversation piece depends on what group of people is in here. As to what we talk about. There's one group in here. We talk a little sexual stuff, but you can't go too far with that group. There's another group. They be in here talking all about crazy stuff. They'll show a woman with who's double amputee in the legs and be like, would you hit this? Would you hit this? And the jokers be like, man, I'll tear that up. So it's like, hold on, somebody's at my door. I'm here, young lady. Nah, I forgot to unlock that. Thank you. You have a great as well. Sorry, that's just my mail lady dropping off the mail. But yeah, the conversations in here be all kind of way. And then there's sometimes people come here and we have the spiritual conversations and all that kind of stuff. So ain't no telling. Just come on over here, Deborah. Since you're in College Park, one guy shared his experience with a heavy girl, and he said he came in the creases. Look, there are fetishes that people have, and some people have those kinds of fetishes. Ladies, let me tell y'all something. And because it might not even been a fetish. Yeah, we have fun all over. We just have a bunch of fun. When we poking around, our ping is not as sensitive enough to actually know exactly where we are all the time. All right. We could be in there and y'all be like, he just pushing? Because we don't know where we at. We can't tell until we actually hit the spot and penetrate. That's when we know we're in the right spot. But getting to there, you could be in some, like my man said, like Miss Prissy said, you could be in some creases and not even know that you were in a crease, and if you're big enough, and not even know you in a crease. Fun all over that 22 booty. Deborah, we need to have a conversation. You know what, Deborah, it would have been You probably would have had fun when we had a pajama party up here. We had an adult pajama party. Nothing too crazy happened, but we had an adult pajama party. You probably would have enjoyed that. You see, Miss Priest said he thought that he was in. We could. You could be fiddling around and think that you in now. We can't. Men are not nowhere near as sensitive as women are. Y'all know shit that we don't know. Y'all feel things that we can never feel. So we could easily be poking around thinking we in there, be going at it, because it's still just, it's the pressure and moisture, of course, but it's the pressure that makes us, that gets us going. That's why when we've had conversations in here about like oral, and we was talking about how if the woman does the wide open mouth and no pressure, no lip pressure and all that kind of stuff, no tongue pressure, we can't feel shit. We can't feel one blessed thing. Deborah, do you smoke cigars though? Because that would be an important part of it. If so, go to my Smoking Phoenix Cigars page, and that way you'll, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, doesn't matter. And then that way you'll know when because we are going to have another kind of adult-ish event real soon. Actually, we're supposed to have one next month. But we can't feel shit. She got to go in done. Well, kid, I don't know what you talking about. I don't understand that one. She got to go in done. Okay, I have to work on that. You have before. Well, we'll teach you. But we have interesting conversation, interesting events. We're gonna because it was publicized. I don't mind telling you what the adult pajama party was, but it was sexy pajamas required. It was a private event, so if you didn't buy a ticket, you couldn't come. We had a lady. We had two ladies who sold and demonstrated the toys. What else did we do that night? We had food. We had libations. Of course, cigars. Oh, we had the conversations. We played game. We played a couple of games. Adult-ish games, but nothing too invasive, nothing like that. But it was good. We had fun, and everybody who was here had a great time. Yeah, it was good. Some of the outfits was very interesting, to say the least. Put it that way. I'm done if the oral is whack, I'm with you, Wakil. I can't deal with it. No. And see, women, y'all are built differently. Now don't get me wrong, it ain't easy. Most men need to. Actually, that should be a relationship video on Wednesday. We should talk about that. Men need to actually learn how to please a woman. Maybe at the next adult-ish party, that can be part of the party. Where we talk about, we have like a discussions on pleasure zones and how. Appreciate that, Wakil. That's gonna be part. I gotta discuss it with the board, but that could be part of the next adult-ish party. Because we were trying to think of some ideas. We wanted to find models. We are going to do one where we're going to find some models, male and female, in the nude, and we're going to do a paint. We're going to do the paint party. Yeah, now we're moving into Kama Sutra and love. Well, that's why this channel that you're on now in TikTok is called The Art of Tantric Love, and the Facebook group is called The Art of Tantric Love, because of my studies and participation in Tantra and Kama Sutra and things of that nature, and understanding it from energy, and it's not just physical, but it's also energetic. But yeah, but we're gonna do where we're painting people, where you got your board and you paint, and there's new models. be an adult. And I know that the event in April is going to be called an Adam and Eve event. So, your dress can be relational to that. But yeah, women need to, whatever I always tell guys, whatever you did with your other woman doesn't mean that the next woman is going to enjoy it. So we do need to learn how to please a woman. And one of the best ways is to learn from a woman. You know, I think every man should watch his woman please herself and pay attention to what she's doing. You know, and then by paying attention to what she's doing, you can gain an understanding of how if she's pleasing herself, she know how her body works, so she knows what to do. I think every woman should watch her man please himself because he know how his thing works, and then she can understand better how to, what Kia was saying. She can't get it. She don't. If the head is whack, he got it there. If she watch you please yourself, then if she can extrapolate how she would do it, how you're doing it with your hand is how she should be doing it with her mouth, then she should be able to do a better job. She can learn how to just be more specific to you. You're supposed to be leading, but you won't let it go. Oh yeah. I've never pleased myself. How old are you, Deborah? Because you lying. Y'all, Deborah over here on TikTok telling lies after lies after lies. This woman said she ain't never pleased herself. I don't believe that. I don't care if you say that you never have. I just don't believe it. I find that hard to believe. But if you say it, I guess I'm gonna have to respect it. But I think every woman should, though. You're 50 and you haven't. You need to. Because you learn yourself. I mean, in order for, I think there's a level, this is just what I think. I could be wrong. But I think that there's a level of pleasure that you won't be able to reach or teach your partner if you already don't know how to do it yourself. Because you may find that through pleasing yourself that there are higher levels of pleasure that you can be gaining. And then if he's open, he can learn, he can watch and learn how and see what you're doing. See how much pressure you're using, what angles, what the speeds are, when you slow down, what your change ups are in the pleasing of yourself. What areas are more sensitive than others, or if you like a build up, or you might like a build up, bring down, build up, bring down, build up, bring down, and there goes the volcano. You know what I mean? I've dreamed of doing it, but haven't. Why not? Is it some kind of social taboo that's bothering you? That's keeping you? That has kept you? And then it just become part of your ethos? If you don't please yourself, no one will. Miss Prissy said, if you don't please yourself, then no one will. I pride myself on learning my partner, even if she's a one night, because I have to know to please. Exactly. Like I refuse. Like I was told when I was 14 years old, I had a cousin. She said, if you focus on pleasing the woman, and if she's a good woman, she'll then focus on pleasing you, and then both of y'all will always be pleased. It's an ethos that I live by. I'm not saying you've never been pleased. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there could be a whole nother level out there. You know what I'm saying? Like most dudes don't know how to train themselves tantrically to be able to have multiple orgasms or to separate the orgasm from the ejaculation. And so if a man can learn to separate the orgasm from the ejaculation, then he can have multiple orgasms and then build up to a much stronger ejaculation to the point where when that orgasm happened, he damn near, he gonna see bright lights and shit start popping in his mind and just lose himself. Okay, you try, but it's weird to you. You can work on that though. You can work on making it more normal to you. This conversation show went a different direction. I heard I heard my female cousin and partner say men don't eat it right. Too much too much slob, licking too fast, at the wrong time, not knowing when to use your fingers and when not to. Oh, and you're saying you want to learn that? It's a process. It's a tantric process to learn that. It takes some time. It takes a lot of takes a lot of masturbating though to learn that. So you got to take the time to do that to get to that point. Um, I think Angelina is suggesting to Deborah to use a toy, to use toys. That's a great way of, and your man should be willing to watch, and so he can learn. I think every man should also become a toy master. You know, you should be able to know how to use toys yourself. You know, all right, girl, I got this toy. Because woman, you know, she can only reach in so many different angles, but you down there, you can, you know, you do some like boxing. You know, you can do some things. You got different angles that you can go at and different ways, and then she's free. She's not focused on what she's doing. She's just free to enjoy it. You know, so every dude should also become a toy master, in my opinion, because it just heightens the experience. The experience becomes heightened. You know, when you can do that, and it gives you other options. It ain't got to be the same. You know, most people when they have sex, they have, you know, 5, 6 different processes, different routines, basically. Um, and you don't want to get to a point where, you know, it's like, okay, if he's doing this, I know next he's gonna do that, and I know next he's gonna do that, and then next he's gonna do that, or next he's gonna do this, and next he's gonna do this, and next, you know, you want to have different things. So you want to have 10, 15, 20 different routines so that things can be varied and they stay exciting. You know, you don't get bored with your partner. So you want to, you know, to me, this is just my thoughts on that. But I think it also helps benefit the relationship. Oh, it goes back to this this graph. It brings you closer. But I think it is. You should learn, and a lot of men don't. I actually, um, I know a woman now. I'm getting out into my personals here. Knew this woman when I met her. Uh, she was a little bit older than me. She told me she had never uh, had an orgasm through a man performing oral. I thought that was, you know, I didn't find it strange at first because, like what Keel said, there's a lot of men who don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't watch pornos and thinking that the porno is how you do it. The porno is for angles and for the show. They trying to make sure the camera get that, and it's for the show. It may not be exactly what pleases the woman, and the woman on there is faking, right? So, or for the most part, she's giving a lot of energy for the camera. So a porno is not necessarily the best way to learn. Learning from another woman is the best way. But this woman tells me that she's never had one before. So I was like, okay, that's believable. Um, but then when we got to a point where we were going to be intimate, the way she was constructed down there, I was like, it is how? Like it stuck out like a, well, it wasn't that big, but you know, it was sticking out beyond the hood like that. Like it was sticking out beyond the hood like that. I'm like, there's no way that this woman have um there's no way that this woman's never had an oral orgasm. Like it's she should be easy. But she had dudes who didn't know what they were doing as far as going down there. You know, she was telling me that they lapped it up like a dog, you know, and that's why she never had one. But I'm like, your body construction is so easy. You should be able to. Um, that just weirded me out. But there are dudes who don't know what they're doing. All right, with Kill. Yes, how Max Julian says, I don't know who Max Julian is, get a bag of kit toys, whips, chains, handcuffs, paddles, clamps. And Miss Pris said, oh no, I would never let some man tie me up. You just gotta trust them, Miss Pris. It's all right. It's all, you just gotta get that trust with them. You know, get your safe word, you know, and y'all just trust each other. You know, but don't be like that. You know, I hear that more commonly from black women than from any other group of women. Black women got this thing about being a lot. Some black women have this thing about they're not going to be tied up. It could be fun though. Being tied up is not a bad thing. it's allowing yourself to not have to be in control, right? And especially if you're a person who's always have to be in control, like you always have to be the authority, you're always in control. To allow yourself to be tied up, it's a release of that control, and that release can turn into a whole nother level of euphoria, you know. So your husband would never do that to you? You sure? He may be saying he would never do that because you told him you would never let somebody do that to you. You know, husband, men are very we I know we always don't listen, but if we get a cue from a woman that ain't never let nobody tell me, or you ain't gotta say it, you can just be watching it and you see somebody like, not me, and then right there in his mind, he is already saying, oh, I would never tie you up, because he's trying to please you because he want to keep getting what he getting. You know. Remember the movie The Mac? Actually, I'll have to be honest, I've never seen the movie The Mac. When I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of those movies. If you're talking the older ones, back like last summer, if you was part of the Cigar Lounge page, you would saw that we did like movies. We had movie nights outside, and they wanted to do a lot of the blaxploitation movies, and most of those movies I had never seen because my parents and grandparents wouldn't allow. They hated those movies, so we couldn't see them growing up. You never talked about it. You never talked about it with him. I just know him. Yeah, you know, you never know. Depending upon how it's presented. I bet you if you said, baby, you know, I was watching this this video came on. Yeah, you know, I was watching 50 Shades of Grey, and you know, I thought that, you know, that looked interesting with the tying up thing. You know, I bet you if you said that and told him, hey, well, baby, you know, if that's what you want, sure. That's how he'll probably say. You know, he ain't gonna say, yeah. You know, he might be like, well, baby, if that's what you want, then, you know, it's all about pleasing you, baby. So if you want me to learn how to tie you up, I'll tie you up. We good. And in his mind, he's like, yes, finally. I've been wanting to do this. Because there's something to it. Mm-hmm. That's what you're saying, Miss Prissy. I bet you if he was in this lounge and it's just me, him, and some other guys, and we start talking about it, he might say, man, my wife would never let me do that. But man, because I've had some guys in here who were who have said that. Man, my wife wouldn't let me do that, but I like to try it though. I like to try it. Especially when I talk about things, you know, because in here, especially, and on it doesn't matter to me. I'm very transparent when it comes to things like that anyway. But I was like, hell no. Look, let me tell you. One of my favorite, you know, you tie the woman up, she's still standing. You tie her arms up, tie her legs up, bedpost, whatever you use, handles. And then you have like, and then you blindfold her. And then you got like, not a paddle that hurts, because most of these paddles and flogs don't hurt. And then, you know, but you don't know when the touch is going to come. You know what I'm saying? And you just touching and you doing things, kissing and licking and biting, or nibbling and, you know, licking and sticking and all kind of things. But they never know when it's going to come. You don't just do it consistently. You do it, you know, do a little bit, then you step away, and you might take a feather or something and rub against the leg, on the backside of the leg or inside of the leg, or, you know, across the shoulder, or, you know, all of a sudden you come in, you take in a little breast or something, and then you back away. It can be exciting. You should try it. You should try it. I approached him one time about role playing, and he thought I was crazy. Insecurities. The first time that somebody said something to me about role playing, or I thought about role playing, and the first time I did it, it was a little bit of insecurity. It was like, you know, I feel crazy. This, you know, what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do? You know, but then it's a freedom when you can just let go. You know, it's not. I always say you try something at least 3 times. First time you don't know what the hell you're doing. Second time you kind of got a good idea. Third time you should know if you like it, right? So yeah, the role playing thing at first it was a little weird, but then, you know, I just kind of got past it. And then once you get past it, it becomes fun. You know, it's like, let's play doctor. Get your little stethoscope. Got your scrubs and everything. I see, Miss Johnson, that you have a case of non-orgasm. Let me check you. You just try stuff. It's fun. It's fun to me. Uh, but you never know what you like or don't like until you try it. And it was never discussed again. And time changes people's mentalities. The older I've gotten, the more I could care less about what other people think. And the more I can care less about what other people think, the more I am open to what I think I may enjoy. And then it's like, I'm going to go do it. I go do it at that point. Because I don't care. All of y'all right now can say, okay, Renz, I like the other stuff you talk about, but you're a sexual deviant. I'd be like, and I'm having fun. I have a good time. You know what I mean? Preacher. You say you understand? Yeah. Andre, the first time I had to do a role play, I really had to lean on, at first I had to lean on some of the military work that I had done. As far as playing roles in the military. Put it like that. And so I leaned on that experience. By leaning on that experience, it allowed me to open up to do that. And then it turned out to be, a fun event. And especially when you start doing it and it leads up all day, right? You do something, where you're in the role as y'all communicate all day towards each other. And then it's just like, it's a lot of fun. And then it gives you something different in the relationship that keeps it interesting. After 26 years, if he talks about tie me up, I would do it with a loaded gun. How you doing, man? Hold on for you a minute. Just looking around? How old are you? Oh, okay. So you look a little young.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So you smoke cigars?
No, not particularly.
Okay. Well, one of the things we do, we get a lot of new people and we teach them how to smoke cigars and how to appreciate them and learn about them, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Looking.
All right. You more than welcome to go in the humidor and take a look. I'm just doing a live video. You good. Now I'm going to be turned around. I don't know that dude. There are these things called cigar thieves. But yeah, you should continue to try stuff. You should continue to try things. I would. It makes the relationship better. It helps. Go back to it. It helps with this, bringing y'all closer together, because you want to draw closer to each other in every aspect of your relationship. And why are you gonna come with a loaded gun? Just go ahead and tie him up. I'm gonna tell you, I don't mind being tied, but everybody ain't gonna do it. I gotta trust you. You gotta be my lady, for that. Otherwise, it's not gonna happen. Gotta keep an eye on this young fella. He don't smoke cigars, so he have no idea what he's looking for. So y'all hold on for a second. Hold on. I know you're looking around, but you don't know what you're looking at, right? So cigars come in parts. You have the filler, the binder, and the wrapper. So what the part that you can see on the outside is the wrapper. Most of the flavor comes from the wrapper itself. 80% of it. Okay, so the lifting is the nicotine that you get into it. So that's going to be your medium to full body cigar. So your darker skin, darker wrappers is what's going to give you that, because it's the nicotine that's giving kind of like how you know CBD, you get a mellow feel. That's what cigars do. You don't inhale cigars. It's too much tobacco to inhale. So you just, you know, you go take in your blood. So those are going to be your darker red ones. As far as when I say flavor, there are some cigars that are sweet, but or flavored in it's like coffee or mint or something like that. But most cigars, real cigars, that's why I'm talking about this. Real cigars, they don't. Their notes of coffee and cocoa and that sort of thing, but it's very gentle and mild. You got the really big both nose and that sort of thing. So that's the exciting. I know you're looking around, but you don't look too bad. So like if you're first starting out, though, I wouldn't start you on something that's full body or meat. You start on something that's mild. That's one of the light skins. But hell no. You gonna spend $16 on a cigar and then break it up with marijuana? There are other places where you can get the kind of tobacco to do that. None of these. None of these. If you start out rapping one of these, it's not gonna work out.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes we get these younglings in here who want to take a cigar, unwrap it, and put their marijuana in it. It's an interesting thing, but cigars are not something that you do that with. I'm gonna go get you a Tampa Nugget. Oh my gosh. Hey Belinda, how you doing? When y'all coming back to Atlanta, Belinda? So I forgot where we left off. That's a waste. Yeah, it is a waste of cigar to try to put weed in it. Although one day I'm sure some cigar company's gonna come out with a cannabis cigar. But Miss Prissy, you shouldn't hold a gun to if your husband say tie you up, that he wants to be tied up, just tie him up, blindfold him, and then play with him. It'll be exciting for both of y'all because on your end of the scale, you get to is the dominatrix feel will most of the time will turn you on, but also him being in that, especially if he has to be in authority all day, always in charge, that feel of letting go and being temporary submissive will allow him, it's a freedom that he would then feel in that. And then just the fact that you stand there blindfolded or whatever, tied up, and you don't know what's going to happen next, it's a level of excitement. So he may enjoy that. It's at least worth trying 3 times. See, like what kills a dude, he likes a little pain and a little pleasure. In order for that to happen, you got to be a little bit, you got to let go. He has to let go, right? You have to be submissive with your partner, and there's nothing wrong. Being submissive with their partner in a sexual act does not make him less than a man. Actually, one of the things I found out when I was living in Germany, and especially when I would go to some of these Russian countries, is when I first found this out. I saw a lot of high-powered men who like to go and be in a sexually submissive position because it's a release from all the authority and stress that they had to carry all the time. And so it's fun. And a little bit of pain is okay. For some people, they like that. Now, some people like a lot. Can't get down with that for me personally. But a little bit is all right. A little nibbling, a little biting, a little scratching. We're good. Little, we good. Yeah, you can keep the pegging. The pegging, no. You can keep that mess right there. I'm not going that far. Hell no. But some dudes like that, and I let them have that. But no, I'm not even gonna go there. We're not even gonna talk about that one. But to like when we was in here, Debrica, and we had the pajama party, and one of the ladies who was demonstrating the toys and all that sort of thing. Uh, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna add a speaker, a microphone to Facebook. I know people saying it's coming in choppy, so I'm gonna do it. We're gonna try that one on the next Facebook. I'm gonna try that tomorrow on my other Facebook channel when I do a live on that one tomorrow. But that she brought out a flogger, right? Little flogger. And there was a lot of flogging going on that night. I ain't gonna say who was doing all the flogging. We ain't gonna talk about that person. But it didn't hurt. The sound effect was actually more exciting to the people who allowed themselves to be flogged. The sound effects of it, the act of it did turn a lot of them on. They were like, ooh, and the ladies who was selling the toys, she sold quite a few floggers that night. So it's not like somebody's in here and they and kicking your ass. Now there are people who like that more extreme thing. And if you do, that's great. I would never tie my husband up. So your husband asked you to do that, you wouldn't do it. You would take that opportunity, Miss Prissy, away from him. Glad you're back, Deborah. You would take that opportunity. He wants to be he wants to be tied up, and you're not gonna. Yes, you would. If he asked you to do that, yes, you certainly would do it. I'm like, I don't believe you. If he asks, you will. How long y'all been together, Miss Prissy? So you got to step out the box because it sounds like both of you have a reservation about it. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with trying something brand new with somebody that you trust. And that's what it's all about. It becomes a thing about trust at that point. Yeah. Which takes us back to this. You need trust to be in these upper parts. In order for y'all to grow together, you need some trust. You can grow stronger together. When you can trust each other in something like that, you definitely will grow stronger in your relationship. What's that symbol? Okay, so for those who weren't here 3 hours ago, this is a diagram that I use when I'm coaching couples as far as how to grow closer together in their relationship and remove distractions or remove things out of the relationship that's drawing them further apart. Anything that you can put in these upper ones are things that are drawing you together. Anything that you put in the below ones are things that are taking you further apart. Anything's over here are the distractions that are causing you to go even further apart. You need to reconcile these things and these things in order to grow closer together. That's the basic, simple idea, simple thought process on it. It requires a lot of open, honest communication. Said, no, we need to just fix what's not. No, we just don't need to fix what's not broken. 27 years. No, and it's not about something that's broken. I understand what you're saying. You're absolutely right. If something's not broken, then stay with it. It's not about fixing anything that's broken. New experiences are basically about continuing to grow with one another or continue to have new experiences that y'all can share. See, the new experiences and things that you can share and y'all both coming to at least a common agreement about it helps you to continue to grow closer and closer. I do recognize that the majority of divorces that are happening in the world today, especially America, are with people over the age of, I think it's over the age of 50 or 54, something like that, or they have the highest number of divorces. Some of that is, multiple reasons. That's why we use this chart to figure out what those reasons are that are drawing us further apart from each other. So it's not about fixing what's not broken, but just being able to weigh the scale so that you have more things that you guys are sharing, that you guys are having great experiences with, so that you become, more unified. There is nothing like having a sexual relationship that is incredibly, incredibly fulfilling. And it affects so many things. Stress levels go down. People tend to have better finances when they are having a great sex life. Um, you raise children better. You have better friends. You have better experiences on vacations and in your day to day life and dating. Dating usually goes up. All these different things that made you want to be with a person seems to be reinvigorated the greater your sex life is. So it ain't about it being broken. It's just having new experiences. I would die if me and my mate had the same sexual relationship over and over and over and over and over again. I would literally just be like, I would get bored. I would get very bored. And y'all know I like to study things on. I study like so many different subjects just because I just like to learn new things. Even I study things that I have no intentions of ever utilizing, or but I just love learning. And when it comes to intimacy, I want to continue to learn and continue to try things. Let's just say my Canadian ex gave pain and pleasure on a regular cause I trusted her, and vice versa. Her fantasies and and mine were explored together. Yeah, and great sex relationship don't mean it's going to be a guarantee. There could be other things like that could destroy the relationship, but it's certainly something that you don't need. Sex and money are the two biggest reasons why most relationships end. So if you can solve most of those issues, then you have a better chance at. So if you can make those, if not solve, if you can make those, well, solve and make those situations greater at the greatest height that they can possibly be, you have a greater shot at success, at long-term success. Um, to be able to explore all your fantasies is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. All right, because then you get it out. They're no longer just something in your mind. They're something that's your reality. And if you do like them, now you just added another piece, to your intimacy puzzle, and you get to fulfill and become your full self. Right? I try to know all about that in which I hunt. Yeah. I mean, if I was doing something else psychologically, it would be some form of sex therapy, you know, teaching people, how to really engage in that lifestyle, in the whatever lifestyle they choose to engage in. You know, I knew this couple, they used to go to swinger parties all the time. They never participated, but they like watching other people. Them watching other people, then they would either go home or go into a private room and they throw down. And it just was something they would do a few times a month. And it was a great thing for their relationship. And it was great for their relationship all around, all around. So I don't know, that's the question. Have any of you guys ever been to a swingers event? I'm gonna wait for those answers. Have any of you ever been to? Boy, this conversation went a different route, didn't it? From where it started 2, 3 hours ago. Have any of you guys ever been to a swingers event? Hmm. I'm waiting, damn it. I'm gonna wait. Sit here and wait. I need some answers on that one. If you haven't been, would you go? Not that you got to participate, but would you go? If your mate came and said, I want to go to a swingers event, but I want to just watch, would you go? Would you go? Just want to know. Hmm. Y'all being shy now. Come on, Wakil. Don't let me down. I know you got an answer for that one. I don't know if Deborah is still there. Miss Prissy. It's a few of y'all on here. There's some people on here. There you go, Miss. She said, hell no. So you wouldn't even go just to watch. Okay. So Miss Prissy said, hell no, she ain't. Hell no, we won't go. Hell. And that's understandable. Some people may not, that might be too far for some people to go and bring popcorn and a notebook. That's all right. Wakil say he going. He gonna bring popcorn and a notebook. Wakil say I'm gonna go to the swingers event. I'm gonna learn some things. Right. And it is of course I've been. Of course I've been. It is a very interesting environment. You see variations of a lot of different things at swingers events. Like I said, that couple that I knew, I didn't know them like super personally, but I knew them well enough. Um, but they would go and they would just watch. That's all they would ever do. Never participated as far as any swappings or anything like that. They would go and they would watch, and it would invigorate them. Of course, there are couples who go and they participate. They do soft swaps, they do hard full swaps, they do threesomes and foursomes and all kind of things. But to me, it's to each your own. Whatever you enjoy, whatever y'all are good with, whatever y'all have maturity about, you can go do it. Actually, those have been and are some of the most interesting experiences I've ever had. They've also been some of the funniest. It's been some of the funniest experiences I've ever had. Because some of the stuff you see, you like, God, I can never unsee that. Or that was went this one time, and this couple had to be had to be at somewhere in that 75 and up range. 75 and up. And that woman was just a strutting and dancing around, and she was dancing, and they were so animated. And I was just like, it was like, I don't want to look at that, but the show was like entertaining as hell. And I was like, look at this shit. I said, go on, girl. At one point, I had to walk by dude and be like, all right, bro. I see you, man. Y'all fully engaged. Y'all letting me know that no matter how old I get, I ain't gotta stop doing nothing. Cause y'all are like wilding. And they were just to themselves, but the show was like, it was crazy. It was funny. It was funny and crazy, interesting. And also because they were so much older than me, it was also like, that could be my grandparents kind of thing at the same time. Well, yeah, at this age, it's, they could be my parents. But, at a younger age, it's like, they could be my grandparents. So it was that part too. My lady don't share, nor do I, so I'll never bring that aspect up. But to learn or to get stimulation, so I go home and try some stuff. Yeah, and people when people hear the term swinging, they automatically think that you are participating with other people, but it's not. It's there are categories to that thing. There is voyeurism, and voyeurism is just watching other people or allowing other people to watch you. So you can go either way. It's whatever floats your boat. Women do have all the power and control in those types of environments. Nothing happens unless a woman allows it in those situations. So they are in control of every thing in that environment. If you're with your lady, you ain't gonna do nothing that she ain't gonna allow you to do. It's plain and simple. That's general. If you participating with anybody else, it's all about what that woman allows not to do. In most cases, there are cases where it's opposite, but 90% of the time it's not. But to go and watch, you may go there, watch, and learn something that like I was in there one time and I saw what this couple was doing. I was like, oh shit, I ain't never thought about that. And I done, studied the Kama Sutra. And Kama Sutra is just the positions that are within Tantra. Many people separate the two, but they're not. They're one and the same. Tantra is the overall. Kama Sutra is just the positions that you utilize to practice Tantra. And even in all the Kama Sutra, I've never seen that situation. And I was like, oh, and it seems so simple that I should have thought about that. I should have realized that situation a long time ago. I got it. Oh, Randy says, wait a minute. I got to respond to this real quick. So anyway, yeah, and it wasn't even a hard situation. It wasn't even a hard position. I was just like, oh wow, why didn't I think about that? And I can describe it to you. I don't know if you can. You have to imagine this in your head. So basically, she was laying on her back. He had this arm over and pushing both her legs back with the knee bent, with her legs spread a bit. And he was sitting on the side, and he was giving her oral, but this hand was free to work, uh, you know, to work the fingering. But because of the way the legs were and all that sort of thing, it pushed up on her. It allowed the clit to be pushed up more, so that he could have easier access to it with his mouth, and the fingers pushing up on the inner clit, which allowed it to push up more and have more access to it and more blood flow there. And it even allowed him to double penetrate. And at one point, the orgasm hit that woman so hard, she almost, even though he was like this and holding her, and she almost kicked that joker like a horse and knocked it out. But I was like, oh, most dudes we think straight in, and then when you are using your hands, you're tucked underneath. But I was like, oh, that is easier. But we think straight in because from the side, you really can't get a full enclosure with the mouth. But the way he was doing it, he was still able to get that while using his hands more accessibly. He was able to use his hands easier as well. And it was less pressure on his neck. Y'all ladies don't know, when we down there for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, back of that neck be hurting. But be trooping. You troop through that thing. So going to watch is a good thing. You can. And in all my years, I thought I would have been figured something like that out, but I just hadn't thought about it. Because I thought about it, I thought it wouldn't. It's the times I have been on the side, but the legs were down. It was, I saw the difficulty of it, and I was like, but I never thought about throwing the legs up and holding the legs up with my arms and my shoulder, which actually allowed me to use more of my body instead of just using my arms. And she was small, Deborah. She was small, so it made it easier as well. And thighs be too thick. Whew. Oh, shoulders. The shoulder getting a little tired. Trying to hold them up. Y'all, it is 2:11. I have to get off here. I got work to do. All right. So we're going to end this today. You guys have been great. We've definitely went far away from the original conversation. We're not far away from it because the conversation does still match in with this diagram of focusing on the things that draw a couple closer together and being able to figure out and discuss the things that are drawing you apart and ridding yourselves of distractions. And since intimacy and finances are the two biggest reasons why most people get divorced or most people break up, that's, other than just not matching up. You know, if you just don't match up, you figure it out before you get married. That's a great thing. Or before you commit to each other where you're in the same household. Because I don't believe you have to go get a piece of paperwork to consider yourself married. Um, but so the commitment is what matters. But if you're going to be committed to somebody, then take the time to each one of you have a sheet like this, and each one of you decide what do you think is drawing you closer together from your perspective that you're doing, and what do you think that's driving you farther apart. So actually, I didn't do this, and I should have. Sorry. You should have a line through the middle. A line through the middle. That line in the middle is what's bringing you together for that person, what you think is bringing you together for that person, what's taking you apart for that person, what's taking you apart for that person, what's separating y'all. What are their distractions? What are their distractions? What are your distractions? And then let's talk about these things. And if a person has something that's here for them, but you got that over here for you, then y'all need to discuss where the misunderstanding and the divide is, so you can come into an agreement as to whether or not it's something that y'all need to get rid of, or something that you need to have a deeper understanding of, so that y'all can both be working to draw closer to the us and not further away, separating yourselves. All right. And it covers all subject matter. So this can have as many lines as you like. You know, I usually ask people, what are your top 20, it's the 20-30 rule. 20-80 rule. 20% of what you do brings you 80% of your happiness. So it'll give you 80% of your results. 80% gives you 20%. So let's find out what those things are. Maybe a 20% thing is down here, and we need to really focus on getting that up here, getting it resolved so that we can move closer together. And that's what we want to focus on as far as maintaining a great relationship. And it's not something you do one time in your life. As you experience life, you're going to have more. As you have more experiences in life, those experiences can push you farther away. I can tell you that from my own personal experience. I told you guys in the very beginning, my kid's mom, we dated most of high school, got married after high school, and we were together for 17 years. I can definitely say that on my end of the scale, but my end of the scale, I can point out different things, different experiences that we both had, but those experiences, we didn't grow together in those experiences. We grew apart in those experiences. Some of the things that happened when we were stationed in Europe, in Germany, caused us to go further apart. And as I've always said, it's my fault that they took us apart. I didn't know how to resolve those things to bring us together. So I always take responsibilities in a relationship for the things that I should have been able to handle as supposedly the man of the relationship, the leader in the relationship. And I say supposedly because not everybody agrees to that. But if I had known of doing this back then, I would have done better. Can't still guarantee the relationship would have worked. Nobody can ever guarantee that. But what I can guarantee is that some of those issues that we did have would not have been issues. So there's the possibility, and you never know. And I learned from those things. And in learning from those things, I applied them to future relationships, whether to see if I'm going to be with somebody or not, or we can't be together. Because it does help you identify some deal breakers as well. And you want to be able to consistently do that, because if you and a person move somewhere, y'all gonna have these different experiences. You need to talk about how did that move affect them? How did it affect you? You're now in a different environment. You're around different people. You have other people who come into your life. You got friends. Are those friends bringing y'all together, or are they separating y'all? If they're separating you, get rid of them friends. If they're bringing you together, keep them friends. And maybe they're bringing you together now, but 7 years from now, because of experiences that they're having, those experiences that they're having that has changed them is now drawing y'all farther apart. I've had that happen in my life, where there were friends that would bring us together, but then we disconnected for a number of years. And then when we reconnected, they had changed. We had changed. Now those friends were causing us to go away from each other. So those friends needed to go, right? But I didn't have the wherewithal to get rid of those friends back then. which is why those friends played a part in the dismantling of the relationship. You know, I'm 51 now. I've learned those things. So when I see that there are friends or jobs or places or lifestyles that is taking me away and I want to keep that relationship, that shit got to go. Now, there are some things I'm not willing to do. I'm not willing to change myself to a degree where I don't like myself. And I don't think the other person should be willing to change themselves to where they don't like themselves either. And if that's the case, y'all need to part on good terms, you know. So let it stand right there. It's the last thing I'm going to read, and then I'm done. Sometimes people can get married too young because we haven't finished growing, although we never stop growing. But it's different. It's a different vibe when you are older, just my opinion. And I agree 100%. That's why I told my kids, me and their mom told them, y'all will not get married in y'all early 20s. You know, y'all gotta wait. You need to finish growing up and discovering who you are first before you get married. And right, C-Mac, you late as hell. Unless you've been here the whole time, just been quiet. But you let your deal breakers be deal breakers. Don't put them on the back burner or feel like the other person is going to change. Recipe for disaster. And I've done that before where there was a deal breaker present and I ignored it. Now, there are some times where a person can hide that damn deal breaker. And then here it is a year later and that deal breaker is showing up, but you not invested yourself all into it. You know, and now you're trying to fix it, trying to make it work. Hell no. I'll never do that again. Yeah. So, yeah. So there is a limit. There is a limit to this. There's a limit to it. I realize to take some of the light off. There's a limit to this. Deal breakers are the limit. So with that, we're closing out. Been on here for 3.5 hours. So y'all have a great day. See, this is why some things are in the works that doing this, that it'll be the norm to do this for 3, 4, 5 hours. All right. But for right now, I gotta go because I got stuff to do in here. So y'all have a great day. Remember, you gotta free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration. And we out, people. We are. I'm gonna do it better with this Facebook one. And we're gonna try something different tomorrow with Facebook. Oh shit. I forgot to tell people. So y'all know tomorrow, well, this ain't for those 2 pages anyway. YouTube, y'all know tomorrow we'll be on here. We're talking about spiritual things tomorrow. I know what we're going to talk about right now. What I know we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about your chakras. And I got the notes. I had to grab my notes to know it fully because I wrote the notes down yesterday. But we're talking about chakras. We're talking about how opening those chakras makes you a more moral person than people who follow traditional religions. And if you truly embrace the ideas of the chakras, and then how that leads you into a hermetic understanding of how the universe works, and so that you can continue to, ascend your consciousness. So y'all have a great day, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.